All right. We might not be able to get through all of noon, but I'm going to try to. All right, let's see here. So Tama was trying to figure out, Tama's trying to get paid. Ashi's still running. Hano's still trying to figure out what the hell's going on in the case. Minorikawa is checking out everybody else's story. And you have drugs. What do we want to start with? Drugs? Drugs it is. Technically a virus, but you know. The rain won't let up. No matter how much time passes, it just won't stop. Ever since that day, the sound of raindrops has been burned into my mind. Such an awful, heart-rending sound, driving me to strip my life down to shadows. And yet, no matter what else I abandon, nothing will make the sound of the rain stop. Alright, edgelord, calm down. I think I just cut myself on the game. Need a band-aid. Osawa stared at the postcard that was nestled into the final page of the photo album. He purchased it 2 years earlier while on the trip with Maria to the Middle East. He mentioned that he was being sent on business and Maria had just blurted out, "I want to go with you." She recently developed an interest in the Middle East conflict and apparently she had been yearning to see the area firsthand. His daughter's newfound curiosity had taken him aback. She'd always tended to be quiet and self-contained. The clumsy conversations aboard the airplane, the meals eaten together in awkward silence, it all felt like such a distant memory to Osawa now. "Ma'am, I'm afraid I can't let you do that." He heard Kajiwara's voice outside the door. "Why ever not? I'm just going out for a bit." The detective was arguing with I. Great. "And just who was it who told me I should try to go about my life as normal? Osawa's wife sneered. "Ma'am, please wait. How would you feel about being told to just sit around and wait?" I's angry shriek jerked Osawa to his feet. He hurried from the study to try to calm her down. Ma'am, please wait." By the time Osawa had made his way downstairs, his wife had already stormed outside despite Kajiwara's attempts to stop her. Osawa doubted anything he could have said would have stopped I from leaving. Trying to physically keep her from going out would have made for an even worse uproar. He was glad that at least it hadn't come to that. He was turning to head back to the study when Kajiwara caught his eye. Resigned, he'd headed down the stairs and bowed to the detective. "Any advice where she's going?" Kajiwara asked. "I mean, at a time like this?" Osawa shook his head. "I wouldn't know. I didn't think so. You know, your wife really is something else." Osawa arched an eyebrow. "That's one way to describe her. A rather rude way, as a matter of fact." "Oh, no offense intended. It's just that, ever since this case started, you've both been holed up in your own respective rooms." The more Kajiwara spoke, the more irritated Osawa became. "What's your point?" he demanded. "I just mean, you haven't been having any, marital discourse." "Mind your own business," Osawa snapped. Kajiwara dipped his head deferentially. The two of us not talking isn't a new thing anyhow," Osawa added. "I have a policy of not having pointless conversations." Huh. It didn't look as though Kajiwara quite understood. Microorganisms such as viruses don't have conversations, yet still they continually propagate in order to survive. Thinking about viruses, Osawa was back in familiar territory. He felt a surge of confidence. Once you have a clear purpose, conversation is unnecessary. And do you have a clear purpose for the relationship with your wife, Mr. Osawa? Of course I do. To be a family. Arms crossed, Kajiwara struck a thoughtful pose. Yes, in fetal position. At least, I've learned one useful thing today, Mr. Osawa. Namely, that you don't like to have pointless conversations. It's a good thing to know. Kajiwara uncrossed his arms for a moment, then crossed them right back again, furrowing his brow. But see, that's funny. You seem to have a tendency to have pointless conversations with me, and because you keep coming to talk to me. Osawa saw red. You don't leave me much of a choice. Tanaka poked his head out of the living room. Is something the matter? He asked. No. Osawa struggled to regain his calm. Perfect timing, actually. There's something I need to talk to you about. He turned back to Kajiwara. My apologies, Detective. Would you mind giving us some privacy? Kajiwara didn't move. Detective? Osawa gave the policeman a hard look and saw him crack a smile. Yes, what is it? Kajiwara said at last. Don't you play dumb with me. Give us some privacy. Is this a discussion I shouldn't overhear? Actually, yes, it's work-related. There are business matters and I prefer to keep confidential. Ah, I see. Reluctantly getting to his feet, Kajiwara slipped away into the living room. Tanaka, Osawa began. About those emails. Going to the store, you guys want anything? I would like more tea, please. That'd be great. He stopped abruptly. Dog, be for real. Kajiwara had reappeared in the living room door, staring right at them. What are you doing? Osawa demanded. Oh, should I not be watching? Osawa felt like he was about to burst a blood vessel. I mean, you never told me that I couldn't watch. Because it should be obvious? The detective made a scolded puppy face, then closed the living room door. Osawa let out a heavy sigh. He'd never been an extrovert, but he didn't recall human interaction being quite this draining. Anyway, sir, Tanaka prompted, you were saying? Yes, about those emails. Something doesn't make sense. I don't understand how Mr. Makino was able to get the antiviral agent to anyone on the outside. Sharing an Okoshi Pharmaceuticals drug with external sources while it was still under development required the approval of an executive committee that included Osawa himself. There should have been no way the antiviral could be sent out without his knowledge. Tanaka hesitated for a few moments before responding. Are you aware of the strife between the company president and the chairman? Osawa shook his head. He was a researcher through and through. Factional rivalries had no interest for him whatsoever. Makino effectively led the chairman's team, and the antiviral agent is their pet project. Despite being the executive officer in charge of the project, however, Makino still needs the president's approval to, you know what, forget about that right now. What do we do about security? In theory, it was physically impossible to get the antiviral out of the lab without detection. Entry to the biohazard laboratory where it was kept required fingerprint authentication from both Osawa and Tanaka. Sorry, I'm just making sure there isn't anything else in there. Without the two of them there, nobody could even get into the storage facility. Tanaka followed his drift. Ah, yes, I see what you mean. He inclined his head in thought as Osawa continued. Could someone have overwritten the fingerprint authentication program? Let's check the entry logs for the storage section. We just have to ask Makino. Let's check the entry logs. Anyone who wanted to get inside had to present their ID card to the security guard on the duty. It should be possible to check the computer logs to see if there had been any suspicious activity in the system. Tanaka shook his head. I already checked the logs, sir. There was no evidence of anything suspicious. You're welcome to check for yourself, though, if you're that worried. No, I believe you. Yet the fact that the antiviral had been used for clinical testing, either Makino had taken it for the laboratory personally or someone working on his orders had done so. But how? Was there really some way they could have bypassed lab security without anyone else knowing? Osawa couldn't think how it would be possible. The living room door opened with a soft creak. It was Kajiwara, and he looked stiff and pale. Something terrible has happened, he said. Visions of tragedy flooded Osawa's mind. Maria, is she? Kajiwara shook his head. No, it's not that. What is it then? Osawa asked, his voice trembling. Sir, I need you to stay calm. Osawa swallowed the lump in his throat. You see, the toilet's clogged. Jesus Christ, man. Plunger in hand, Osawa stabbed vigorously at the recalcitrant? Recalcitrant? I'm gonna go with recalcitrant. Toilet bowl, struggling to loosen the unseen blockage. Kajiwara was at his side, wiping up the floor with a rag. How did this even happen? The detective groaned. Are you kidding? I was hoping you could tell me that. The plunger sucked and slurped at the porcelain basin. This was a first for Osawa. He never tried to unclog a toilet before in his life. Think of it as a blessing in disguise, Mr. Osawa. What the hell are you talking about? What about this constitutes as a blessing? I just meant at least this happened before you needed to, do your business. Without the slightest hint of guile on his face, Kajiwara picked up his bucket and headed for the sink back in the washing area. Grumbling to himself, Osawa pumped the plunger over and over again. This was almost funny. Almost ridiculous, in fact. His daughter had been kidnapped and he was stuck unclogging a toilet. Hello, life. He was quite possibly caught up in a major corporate conspiracy, and here he was, unclogging a toilet. Tanaka poked his head into the bathroom. Did you fix it yet? If you need to urinate, then use the restroom on the second floor. That's alright, here's fine. Tanaka stepped in beside him and abruptly shut the bathroom door. What the fuck is happening? Why am I in a toilet? Dude, I don't know what's going on right now. All I know is that this is the same people who made Danganronpa, alright? That's all I know. Now the two men were cramped together in a narrow laboratory. Hey, Osawa hissed. What the hell are you doing? Tanaka made eye contact with Osawa via the mirror. He spoke in a hushed tone. I've been waiting. For a moment I could get you alone. What? Tanaka sidled around to face him, giving him an intense stare. Sir, could you please be quiet for a moment? Tanaka had tears in the corner of his eyes. This'll only take a moment. Osawa could feel the warm breath of his deputy whispering against his cheek. Tanaka reached for something inside his coat. I don't know which one to choose. I don't really know. I don't know which one to choose. Let's do the gay one because it's funny. All right, do as you wish. Osawa closes his eyes. Are you sure you're ready for this? I'm not sure. This is happening pretty fast. To be honest, I'm rather nervous. I understand, sir. I mean, now that I think of it, we do spend day in and day out in the lab together. I suppose this was bound to happen sooner or later. Sir, could you please open your eyes? I'd like you to look at this. You'll have to forgive me. This is a bit sudden. Please, sir, take a look. No, I can't. It's just the two of us. It's probably going to shock you, I know, but please, just look. Is it really that shocking? Oh yes, very. Now please, open your eyes. Okay. No, I can't. Sir, trust me, this isn't easy for me either. All right. Bracing himself, Osawa opened his eyes. Tanaka thrust out his cell phone. Here, take a look at this. Huh? Osawa blinked, bewildered, then refocused on the phone. He could never have anticipated what he saw on the LCD screen. Oh, okay. We're already at a keep out. I'm gonna go for Minorikawa after I use the bathroom. Alright, we ball. Minorikawa stood on the sidewalk, weighing his options. Chiaki's phone call had thrown him for a loop. He had expected her to be anxious about doing interviews, but wow, she was a real basket case. Still, that didn't change the fact that he had a schedule of his own to keep. The surveillance camera story had to be his top priority. Chiaki would just have to find some way to fumble through things on her end. He headed on down to Dogenzaka, scanning his surroundings as he went. There were cameras set up on streetlights all over the place. There were so many, it was hard to believe he'd never noticed them before. One over there, another just over here. Electronic eyes peering down on passerby from high above where they were tougher to spot. Just how were the people who came to Shibuya reacting to the situation? Hey, you there! Minorikawa called to a man riding by his bicycle. Hey, you, stop! The man brought his bike to a sudden stop. Huh? What's the matter? He asked. Hi, name's Minorikawa. I'm a freelance writer. Okay. I'm just doing interviews for a magazine and I'd like to talk to you. A magazine? Which one? 4-Star General Gossip. Minorikawa did his best to sound proud. Oh, well, I'm actually in a bit of a hurry here. Minorikawa soldiered on. See that? He pointed at one of the nearby surveillance cameras. What? The man asked. The blimp? The massive blimp was indeed drifting slowly overhead. No, the camera. The camera watched them both in uncaring silence. Oh, that. What about it? What do you mean, what about it? Those cameras have been installed all throughout Shibuya. They're taking in anything and everything, privacy be damned. A shocking pallor came to this man's face. Oh, really? He muttered uneasily to himself. I guess I should be careful next time I go picking stuff up. Hey, what are you talking about? Minorikawa asked. Oh, nothing, just stuff. Way to dodge the question entirely. Anyhow, I think there are some good things about cameras too, the man said hurriedly. Oh, Minorikawa asked. Such as? Well, I mean, they must have helped catch some crooks, right? Yeah, I think you're right about that. Oh, I am? The man looked shocked to have his own statement confirmed. Are you hiding something from me? Huh? No, nothing in particular. The man shook his head vehemently. Nothing at all, really. Well, whatever, Minorikawa said. In any case, even if the cameras are helping in arresting criminals, there are some places where people just don't want to be watched. What? For instance, how would you like it if someone set up a security camera inside your home? What do you mean? I mean, a burglar might try to get into your home. If you had a security camera, you could be alerted right away. Isn't that kind of an extreme argument? Nope, you're the one making an extreme argument here. What? The man stared, bewildered. You're saying it's okay for folks to film people around town as much as they might like, but not to look inside people's houses? Yeah, I guess I am, the man mumbled. Norikar snorted. You don't think too deeply about things, do you? He mocked. The man huffed in indignation. I don't see the problem, he said. I mean, it's a normal enough opinion to want to bring down crime but also protect privacy. Well, yeah. So if they're going to set up cameras around town, I'm okay with that. Norikawa grinned inwardly. You're being naive, he said. Way too naive. Naive about what? By now the man was getting worked up. Once you start letting people watch you some of the time, you'll eventually let them do it more and more. That's how the world works. A simple change in camera angle is all it takes to steal the last traces of your privacy away. That's kind of funny coming from you. Doesn't 4-star general gossip get all its scuttlebutt by invading the privacy of others? So when are you people concerned with personal privacy? Meaning what exactly? Minorikawa asked. You know damn well what I mean. Have you no shame? I've got nothing to be ashamed about, Minorikawa exclaimed. If some celebrity scandal breaks, I write it up in the form of a top-class socially conscious expose. That's the Minorikawa seal of quality. The man rolled his eyes. Please, if anyone's ever heard of that. The dude looks like he runs a children's YouTube channel. I can see that. Your everyday freelance reporter would say something about how security firms have no right to use cameras to distribute personal privacy, but not me. Oh no. I'm the only guy who'd write a first-class piece on the subject. And you want to know why? The man's only response was a doubtful look. Because privacy only exists for me to utterly demolish it. Minorikawa finished with a prideful grin. That's nothing but journalistic arrogance, the man railed. Oh yeah? Yeah, I'd rather have surveillance cameras any day if the alternative's some weird gossip piece. This time, Minorikawa didn't have a handy retort. Why is he pointing the big-ass finger at me? Because he's a big fan of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. An awkward silence descended over the pair. Right, I see, Minorikawa muttered to himself as he busily scribbled in his notepad. The man was visibly taken aback. Thank you for your cooperation, Minorikawa said at last. You gave me some good stuff. He held up a hand to forestall an angry retort. I realize I probably got you a bit riled up. You'll have to forgive me. Huh? The man peered up at Minorikawa in disbelief. This is just my interview style. Sorry, I know it's a little unorthodox. Buddy, you're a weirdo, you know that? The man said. Yeah, I hear that a lot, Minorikawa laughed. So can I go now? Sure, I'll quote you as passerby A in my article. Sure, whatever, the man muttered. He quickly sped off on his bicycle. Minorikawa now has some material for his surveillance camera piece. He wanted to organize what he managed to put through so far. He decided to head toward his next interview location, keeping an eye out for a cafe where he could stop to work on his copy. He used the map included in the project proposal to guide him. It was hard to read the words and make out the details, but it looked like the Nokane building where the Burning Hammer demo was being held was just down center guy. There was no indication of which floor the event would be held on, however. That made him a little anxious, but he'd probably be able to find someone to point him in the right direction once he got to the building. He spotted a cafe up ahead. Coffee, please, he shouted as he strode inside. He slumped down in an open chair. Hopefully he'd be able to hole up here until 1 o'clock working on his article. If he couldn't have it done by then, finishing the whole issue by the end of the day would be a tall order. He pulled a cigarette from his overcoat as he waited for his computer to boot up. Having a smoke was Minorikawa's little trigger for going into writing mode. He stuck the cigarette in his mouth and lit it up. Smoking is bad for you, don't do it. With the first heavy draw of smoke, he felt his mind focus. The rough idea for his article came to his head nearly fully formed. All he needed to do now was get it all written down. Finally, his laptop finished booting up. Took you long enough, pal, he muttered to the computer. His hands leapt up to the keyboard like a predator pouncing on its prey. In a matter of moments, he had hit his stride. His fingers clicked away. One by one, lines of text filled up the screen. A waitress stepped up beside him. Excuse me, sir. Minorikawa was in writing mode. He didn't even hear her. Sir? Sir, I beg your pardon. Again, Minorikawa was deaf to the waitress's attempts to get his attention. Sir, excuse me! The waitress smacked the table. Quiet, Minorikawa snapped. He slammed the table right back. Don't interrupt me when I'm working. Not if you know what's good for you. The waitress didn't so much as flinch. She leaned in aggressively, getting right in Minorikawa's face. Sir, I hate to bother you, but I have to ask you to please refrain from smoking. Norikawa pointed. Huh? This is a non-smoking establishment, sir. No smoking, Norikawa asked. The cigarette bobbed in his mouth as he spoke. The waitress pointed sharply to the sign on the wall. The words "no smoking" were spelled out clear as day. He asked the patrons please not smoke so the other customers can fully enjoy the aroma of their coffee. The waitress drew herself up in an arrogant triumph. The woman sitting at the table next made a face as she tried to fan the smoke away with her hands. Customers all around the shop were glaring at her. You guys don't know the first thing about the aroma of coffee, Minorikawa scoffed. The scent of coffee only truly comes to life amidst the choking stench of tobacco smoke. The waitress's only response was to jab her finger again. But this time, she didn't point at the sign, she pointed to the door. Sir, if you're going to smoke, please take it outside. Sometime later, sitting inside a Café Lautrec, Minorikawa lit up a third cigarette. At last, a safe refuge. It had taken him quite some time to find a place that allowed smoking. After he got kicked out of the first cafe, now he was in a rush to make up for lost time. His fingers flew over the keyboard at lightning speed. The more he wrote, the harder he focused. At this rate, he had the story wrapped up in no time. Today, you hear me? A voice intruded suddenly on his awareness. One of the other customers was shouting. You're breaking up with that fellow today! Norikawa's fingers drifted to a halt. He looked around to see where the voice had come from. An older man, red in the face, was shouting at a young woman who sat across from him. Please, Dad, the woman pleaded. Stop. You're making a scene. Father and a daughter then. It is rare nowadays to see a father behave so imperiously toward his own daughter. Just how sheltered had he been trying to keep her? Norikawa couldn't see her face from where he was sitting, but his interest was piqued. Now he reminded himself that he needed to finish his article. Besides, if this young lady looked anything like her father, he'd just as soon pass. Norikawa went back to his typing. It took a few minutes to reestablish his writing groove with the two still bickering across the room, but thankfully he regained his focus. What's that? His hands went still as a strange noise intruded on his reverie. Whatever it was close by. What in the world is that sound? I need to get to the bottom of this or I'll never be able to concentrate. Just what the heck is that sound coming from? He searched his surroundings for a moment and quickly discovered that the noise was coming from his own bag. He pulled out one of the most important tools of his trade, a bug detector. It was on and it picked up a signal. To a reporter, information was life. That made owning a bug detector a sensible precaution in his line of work. With the device in hand, Norikawa casually scanned the area. Eventually, he zeroed in on the signal. He stood up. Everyone, your attention please, he announced. Someone set up a listening device in here. Several cafe patrons turned their heads in disbelief. A woman wreathed in pungent perfume flashed a disagreeable look. Oh, come on, that's ridiculous, she huffed. There's something fishy going on. The only thing fishy right now is you, the woman declared disdainfully. Why don't you get out of here and let everyone enjoy their meals? No, I smell a scoop. You what? You, what's your name? None of your business, that's what. Now hurry up and stop that awful noise. The other customers were starting to murmur loudly. There's a listening device here, folks, Minorikawa said. How can that not bother you? Do you know where it could be? Excuse me, the woman called out. Could someone please do something about this man? A waitress hurried over. Sir, please, you're bothering the other customers. There's a listening device in here. That's what people should be bothered by right now. The waitress took a reflexive step backwards at the listening device. You're the one intruding on everyone, the woman shouted. Honestly, could you please stop that racket? It's not me that's making the racket. It's the bug tracker. Who the hell do you think you are? Police? Somebody call the police? Ma'am, please calm down, the waitress said. There are other customers here and I'll calm down once you get this disrespectful bore out of here. All I'm doing is sharing the truth. You can't kick me out for that. waitress wavered, clearly intimidated by both of them. You sure got a lot of nerve, the woman snapped at Minorikawa. Go play detective somewhere else. I'm not a detective, I'm a reporter. Really now? By far my least favorite profession. Oh ho, and why is that? Did someone write a story about you, lady? Got skeletons in your closet? You shut your mouth, how dare you? Yeah, I smell the scoop here alright, and the smell's coming from you. Well, stop it with your scoop nonsense already. It's no use trying to hide things from me. You have no idea what you're talking about. I sure do, lady. Go to hell, after you. Blah 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 blah. As they shouted over each other, their words blurred together until they were barely words anymore. The onlookers could only hear indistinct, meaningless raving. And still, the yelling went on and on and on. Eventually, there came a sound of approaching sirens. But even when the police cruiser pulled up outside the cafe, the two didn't slow their bickering. Yeah. Minorikawa lost his cool and got drawn into an argument with a stranger, giving no thought to the consequences. By the time he came to his senses in a jail cell, it was too late to save the 4-star general gossip. Worrying about weird noises can wait. Right now, finishing the articles sounds like a better idea. Yeah, I know. I just thought it was important. Normally, you don't hear beeping sounds or anything. Minorikawa tried to immerse himself in his writing again. Before long, he stopped worrying about the curious sound. Time passed. Eventually, the pace of his writing slowed down a bit, and Minorikawa glanced at his watch. It was later than he thought. Pretty soon, he was going to have to head over to get an interview from the diet drink people. He reached into his bag for the project proposal to double-check the demo location. Huh? The proposal, it's gone. Crap, where the heck did it go? He checked all around the table, but he didn't see it anywhere. Maybe he'd left it at the other cafe, the non-smoking place? Well, they didn't have time to go back for it now. His phone rang. What now? Minorikawa snapped as he answered it. A tiny squeak came through the receiver. It was followed by the sound of sniffling sobs. I'm sorry, I just... Chiaki? Was she done with her interviews, maybe? It's no use. People won't stop to talk no matter how hard I try. Her voice broke up into further sobs. Oh, come on. This again? Really? I can't do it. Don't worry about paying me. Just please let me go home. Minorikawa was already operating on a too tight schedule. He didn't have time to worry about Chiaki on top of it all. Look, just slow down and take a breath. Try and keep at it a little longer. You should have seen this coming when he first called her. Her shyness was practically pathological. But if he cut her loose now, all this frustration would be for nothing. Some cause fallacy. I can't do it, Chiaki whined again. Please, just forget you ever called me. She hung up before Minorikawa could get another word in. He tried calling her back, but she didn't pick up. Damn it, Chiaki. Don't you dare bail on me. Leaving the money for his coffee on the table, Minorikawa jumped up and bolted from the cafe. Ooh. The plaza outside Shibuya Station was crowded as ever. Minorikawa looked around, but there was no sign of Chiaki. She bailed. Minorikawa dropped to his knees in despair. His last hope had up and left. There was no one else he could even ask. Damn it. Alright then, fine. I'll do it myself. He dragged himself back to his feet. Alright, listen up, he shouted at the passing crowd. I'm doing street interviews here starting now. You guys, shut up and help me. I mean, don't shut up, but help me. He wound up blowing way too much time just to get 2 pages worth of content, leaving himself unable to finish the other articles. In the end, the issue of 4-star general gossip never made it to the newsstands, and Heaven Publishing went down for the count. And then Dizzy came home. It is loud outside. Oh, want me to run up and Chiaki shows up at Kano's story at 12:10. Other decisions made there. 12:10? Wait, what does it say? Shows up in Kano's story. Then we need to go over to Kano. And then fix that bad end. Bad end, Dizzy came home. Nothing, dear. I didn't do anything to you. I didn't do anything to you. Your stomach always hurts. Kano it is. Kano had been watching syndicate members hand off the attaché case for an hour and a half. He still had no idea where this relay might be headed. The man he was tailing now was about 10 meters away, close enough that Kano could close the distance and apprehend him at a moment's notice, but his orders remained the same: follow and observe. He watched as the case was handed off once more. By now, the shock of seeing it pass to yet another accomplice had worn off. It's already been 90 minutes, huh? It was Sasayama. At some point, he'd crept up on Kano from behind. They don't seem like they're trying to get away at all, Kano said. They're just walking. What could they be up to? Sasayama shrugged. Yeah, it's weird. Kano recalled Dictum 89. The more irrelevant something seems, the more relevant it's bound to be. That's not true. If Tatsuno's wisdom held true, the Syndicate must have had some reason for what it was doing. Were they just trying to throw the investigators off their scent? No, that couldn't be it. They were wandering in circles, staying right in the same area. They were just running out the clock. What if that's exactly what they were after? Buying time. Kano felt a sudden conviction that he was on the right track. If they needed more time to make sure they get their hands on the ransom payment. Wait, hold on. Could it be that the real case had already been switched out, the ransom money wasn't even there? The real case had already been switched out? It made a certain amount of sense. By handing the case off to one accomplice after another, they were leading the detectives to pay more attention to the individuals than the case itself. That could enable them to swap the case while all the focus was elsewhere. Kano shared his hunch with Sasayama. I see. I mean, it's a possibility. Yeah, we might be following the wrong case. There's a palpable tension in the air now. Kano, Sasayama said, you gotta report it into Kuze. On it. Kano's hand flashed to his wireless, but Kuze was dismissive. No, that's the case, I assure you. No offense, sir, but how can you be sure? Kuze sighed. Because it's my job. There's an ID tag in the case that allows us to keep tabs on it. There's no way these crooks could have whipped up a duplicate. ID tag? What ID tag? Wait, no, that's right. Kano had forgotten all about the detail in order to in the wake of his all-nighter. Oh, right. Don't you oh-right me. Clearly you weren't hired for your brains. Focus on what you're good at. Kuze ended the call. Still, Kano couldn't shake his conviction that something was off. The man with the attaché case made his way back to Shibuya Station. The heck? Sasayama grumbled. He's right back where we started. Kano felt his frustration growing. It honestly looked like the syndicate was randomly lugging the case around town. Near Shibuya Station, a girl approached the suspect. She was Japanese and entirely unlike any of the other criminal accomplices. She spoke to the man while showing him something on a notepad. He glanced at the pad but did not slow down. Within moments, he had left her behind. It looked like she just passed him a message. Well, that sure was fishy, Sasayama muttered. What, the girl? Asked Kano. Yeah, wanna go hit her up? Sasayama could only mean one thing, questioning her. She can't be involved in this case. Sasayama flashed him a skeptical look. Don't you let your preconceived notions get the better of you. Could get you killed. I know that, but still, she doesn't come across as involved. Kano knew better than to judge people based on appearance, but he was still convinced the girl wasn't part of this gang. She just struck him as far too, well, inept really. Bad end, you stubbed your toe. Yeah, we be getting bad ends for anything. Alright, I'll go look into the girl, Sasayama said. You keep following the attaché case. Kano nodded and hurried after the man. The man's black garb made him stand out in the crowd at the intersection. It occurred to Kano that all the criminals who'd handled the attaché case had been wearing the same black clothing. Bad end, you accidentally called your teacher mom. The fact made the whole situation even weirder. Could they really be ignorant that they were just being followed? That they were being followed while they were all wearing the same eye-catching outfit? It was way more likely that they were going out of their way to make the investigators spot them. They still didn't provide any clues as to what they were after, though. The longer Kano kept killing these guys, the less it all made sense. Was it really such a good idea to keep this up? Someone's life was in danger, and they were just letting kidnappers carry out their plan, whatever it was. The very first page of the Dick Diary spelled things loud and clear on that front. Dick Dictum number 1. Never lose sight of what you're supposed to protect, ever. Right now, the single most important thing was ensuring the hostage's safety. This was a situation where Tatsuno would have stuck to his guns for sure. Kano thought back to that day 3 years ago. Burglar had shut himself in a financial office and doused the place in gasoline. Kawada had just been put on the police box duty and was ordered to the scene because the box was just down the street from the standoff. Several officers had surrounded the building, keeping close tabs on the situation. The suspect was shouting nonsense through the entrance of the first floor. Things were getting heated. A crowd of alarmed onlookers had started to form as well. Step aside, a voice said, suddenly coming amidst the throng. A middle-aged man in a rumpled business suit had approached Kano as he hovered nervously at the edge of the scene. I'm sorry, sir, Kano said. You have to stay back for your own safety. He attempted to usher the man back into the crowd. No nonsense look crossed the newcomer's face. He spoke in a low voice. I'm Detective Tatsuno from Shibuya Precinct. What's the situation? Oh, sir, I'm so sorry. Yes, of course. Kano stammered, then quickly explained. He hasn't taken anyone hostage, but there are still people on the upper floors of the building. Giving only a slight nod, Tatsuno marched straight forward up to the building. The plastic container of gasoline the suspect had used was on the ground out front. Tatsuno picked it up and then dumped the remaining contents over his head. Kano was at a loss for words. He couldn't believe what he was seeing. I've covered myself in gasoline too, Tatsuno called out from the entryway. The tension in the air ratcheted itself up several notches. Bad end Nidoran escaped. Hey, what the hell do you think you're doing? Kano heard the burglar shouting from inside. If you're gonna do it, Tatsuno called out. We can die together. He walked into the building. All Kano could do was watch things unfold through the plate glass window. Tatsuno was talking to the burglar, but Kano couldn't make out the words. The crook was clutching a lighter, his hand trembling. His expression was like that of a frightened child. Tatsuno slowly approached him and took firm hold of a shaking hand. Onlookers erupted into cheers and applause. Tatsuno handed the now docile suspect over to the detectives, then wearily sat down against the planter out front. It was like something it ripped straight out of a police drama. That was amazing, Kano breathed. You have to deal with the guys like that as quickly as you can. You let a situation like this get out even a little out of hand, and you never know how things might go south on you. Tatsuno spoke quietly, almost as if he were talking to himself. As the police evacuated the rest of the building, Kano noticed that there were children and elderly people among them. If the perp had managed to set the fire, there was no way they would have escaped in time. But I mean, what if he actually set the place on fire? If someone's willing to risk their life, you're not going to convince them of anything unless you do the same. Kano still remembered the awe he felt in Tatsuno's matter-of-fact tone. Kano hadn't become a police officer out of any real sense of duty. He just thought it would make Rumi happy if he became a detective like her father. Besides, civil service tended to stay afloat in times of recession, and his time playing rugby meant he was in good physical shape for the job. He never really thought too much about protecting citizenry or keeping the peace. But now here he was in the presence of a detective who literally risked his life in the line of duty without a second thought. A police officer never loses sight of what he's supposed to protect, ever. Getting back to his feet, Tatsuno tugged off his gasoline-drenched coat away. And I wrote the words in a notebook he just purchased. Thus, the Dick Diary was born. Thinking back to the way Tatsuno had put his life on the line to rescue a bunch of strangers made Kano feel all the more raw about just tailing these syndicate members. Letting the crooks just wander around wasn't going to bring Maria Osawa to safety. Of that, Kano was now certain. Shoot, it's bleeding pretty bad, he heard someone say behind him. He turned and saw two young men carrying another along. There was a towel wrapped tightly around the third's head. Hey, what happened? Kano asked. Shut your mouth, Kano blanched. And the attitude is trying to help, another voice cut in. It was Sasayama. Had he finished dealing with the girl by the station then? What happened to your friend? Out of my way, man, I ain't afraid to kick your ass. Look, cut the crap and take a quick look. Sasayama unwrapped the towel from the young man's head. Ooh, that's nasty. The young guy was a little more than a kid. His head was soaked red with blood. He appeared to be unconscious. They couldn't just leave him like this, but they were in the middle of a job. They should probably call juvenile affairs. Kano took out his cell phone so he could call the precinct, but Sasayama stopped him and then showed the two youngsters his badge. Oh crap, you a cop? Sasayama nodded. Who you kids with? The Bamps? SOS? SOS, admitted one of the young men after some hesitation. Who attacked you? Yo, it ain't like that. What was it like then? Infighting? The young man was silent. Sasayama must have been right on the mark. In the course of his police duties, Kano picked up a fair amount of street gossip from the young people in Shibuya. Lately, the scuttlebutt about the legendary SOS gang was that they were dealing with some internal strife. Look, don't worry about it, I get it. There's a hospital just down that way. Hurry up and get him there. The young man batted off Sasayama's offered hand, then quickly hauled his friend away. Sounds like SOS was on the verge of breaking up with all this infighting, huh? Kano asked. He kept his eyes on the young man as they headed off. Yeah, seems like it's been pretty Seems like it's been pretty rough. Bad end, you stuttered. You know, with the original leader leaving on all, the detectives in juvenile affairs were well acquainted with SOS's original leader. His stories were like something out of an after-school special. There were tales of them taking down gangs who sold drugs to kids or breaking into Yakuza front offices to save their friends. The detective with juvenile affairs took these stories with a grain of salt, but if there really were young people like that out there, Kano hoped to meet them someday. The detectives had to hurry to catch up with the man they were tailing. He was still strolling along, seemingly in no particular hurry. It kept him in sight as he crossed another pedestrian overpass and circled back around. Still following the same ML, huh? Sasayama grumbled. Guess so, Kano said. How'd things go with the girl? He was careful not to take his eyes off the mark as they talked. You were right, she's not part of this. One of those street evangelists or something. Oh yeah? Yeah, she kept asking me, but are you really happy with your life? Wigged me out. I bailed out of there pretty quick. So Sasayama, I'm thinking the attaché case is going to get handed off to a guy, handed off again at any moment now. Huh? Sasayama peered at the mark who was scanning the plaza he just entered, apparently looking for someone. I take one side, you take the other? Kano suggested. Sasayama's eyes went wide. Say what now? The way we apprehended both perps involved with the handoff. Sasayama didn't reply. Look, HQ isn't thinking about the hostage's safety, Kano said, but that needs to take priority here. Sasayama's face took on a rare solemnity. Disobeying direct orders is not something to do lightly. Then after a moment he added, but I'm on board. I'm sick of all this wandering around anyway. That's the Sasayama I know, Kano replied with a chuckle. Sasayama gave him a silent thumbs up. The two detectives took up position on opposite sides of the plaza. Kano called up Sasayama on his cell phone. You ready? He asked. Just give the word. There were only two non-Japanese people in the nearby crowd. Both were eyeing their surroundings anxiously. Kano was certain that the handoff was about to take place. And then... Well, if it isn't Mr. Toyama. Kano's ears perked up at the sound of an aggressive greeting, the voice dripping with feigned cheer. He whirled around to see two rough-looking young men confronting a father and his daughter. The older man looked pained. Please, just hold on, he said placatingly. I thought we agreed on 4 o'clock, the young man snarled. Don't you try to play dumb with us, buddy. It's nothing like that, I swear. My girl was just hungry, so I stepped out to... Yeah? How come you didn't just order delivery, huh? Yes, right. I suppose that will work too. Don't you me, man? Kano watched the argument uneasily. Stranger's altercation put him in a bit of a spot. The crook he was tailing probably wouldn't risk handing off a case with an uproar like this going on. What's going on over there? Sasayama asked. I'm not sure, Kano replied. Looks like some kind of argument. The suspect's gonna get wary on us. It's gonna screw up with the whole handoff. Yeah, I know. So do something about it and get over there, Sasayama said. What? Find some way to shut them up and then get over there. Oh, sure, alright. Kano headed toward the argument. He was only halfway there when Sasayama called again. He sounded panicked. Hey, Kano! He made a run for it. Huh? Oh, crap! The man they'd been trailing had vanished in the brief time Kano had taken his eyes off him. Wait up! Kano shouted. Sasayama was racing after the suspect and Kano rushed to join him. The man was surprisingly quick, however, and neither detective managed to catch up. In fact, they soon lost sight of him amidst the teeming crowds. Frantically, they dashed through the streets as fast and as hard as they could. We lost them, Sasayama admitted at last. Damn it! He stamped his foot on the asphalt in disgust. Director Kuze? Kano gasped over the wireless. I'm sorry, but we lost the man with the attaché case. There was a heavy sigh on the other end of the line. Kano braced himself. He wasn't going to be able to weasel onto this one with just an I'll do better next time. Sasayama, Kano, get your asses back to the precinct. Kuze out. With that, Kuze switched off the line. Back to the precinct. Kano knew full well what that meant. They were off the case. There was a gnawing in his gut. If those two punks hadn't showed up, No, if that father and his daughter hadn't turned up, he might have been able to apprehend the suspect. The father and the daughter was the motherfucker who hung himself. So we gotta switch back to something else. Aw, don't let it get you down, Sasayama said. I mean, paper pushing can be kind of fun. The look on his face, however, suggested he didn't think it was fun at all. Not one bit. With the air of the two men heading to an execution, Kano and Sasayama trudged back toward the Shibuya precinct, which is a bad end. So we gotta do something. What's the hint here? Kano was taken off the case because he lost track of the suspect thanks to a random altercation nearby, and his glum conclusion was correct. If the father/daughter duo hadn't shown up, this wouldn't have happened. A certain someone needs to give those two some better advice, and a certain other someone needs to meet up with them outside his or her house. Both of those was the key to changing Kano's fate. So did we gotta go back to Norikawa? Norikawa, sorry. Okay, so this is new. All right. This is different. Okay. He had to hurry. He had to get to the demo venue. But he lost the map and he'd forgotten the location. Think, man, he told himself. But would they hold an event like this? Well, where would they hold an event like this? Probably someplace big, right? There ought to be a guide or someone out front, too. With these assumptions in mind, Minorikawa broke into a run, searching ahead as he went. He stopped and caught sight of a particular multi-tenant office building. A whole stream of women were filing inside. All of them looked a little heavy, too. Pay dirt. This had to be the health food company's sales demo. He hurried into the building. The women were queued up and down the hallway. This is definitely the place, then. More confident by the moment, Minorikawa made his way up the stairs. Finally, he reached the front of the line. There was a notice posted outside the doorway ahead. Minorikawa read it out loud. Auditions for starring in roles in Sun TV's Sumo Queen 2. My dad said apparently Ted Lasso is getting a 4th season. I don't know why they would make a 4th season, because it ends off pretty well. So it doesn't really need a 4th season. That's it, Minorikawa exclaimed, a new project proposal springing fully formed into his mind. He felt as though he'd struck by a bolt of divine inspiration. Big bodies, bigger names. A new arena opens for aspiring plus-size actresses. Never mind the diet drink demo, this was going to be Minorikawa's big story. This is not. Minorikawa managed to meet the deadline. The show, however, wound up being a massive flop. Sales of that last issue of 4-Star General Gospel were likewise lackluster, with an unprecedented number of copies going unsold. Man, this dude is just determined to end his own life. Norikawa wound up going to the wrong venue entirely. His main problem is that he didn't have a good detailed instructions to the Burning Hammer demo. Tama can do something about that at 12:15. That causes Chiri to head to the cafe and Chiri to help Norikawa get to where he needs to go. So we need to go to Tama then. All right, let me use the bathroom again. All right, to Tama. In 1 hour, the Burning Hammer sales demo will begin. Theory is laying out the assortment of snacks that will be that we'll have on hand. Hey Tama, you hungry? Why, yes I am. I mean, that should be pretty obvious at this point. All I've had since putting on the stupid mascot costume is some Burning Hammer and a bunch of iced tea. Hey now, Chiri shoots back. What's with the attitude? Chiri, you do remember that you ate my lunch, right? The sticker said it was the best before noon. You just made that up. Yeah. Chiri chortles merrily and chugs some more iced tea. Okay, folks, Mr. Yanagashita calls out. If she was able to get a liquid through the gap of the suit, surely they can get food through there. Mr. Yanagashita calls out as he slips into the room. Lunch break's over, back to work. I don't feel like I've had much of a break. If anything, I'm even more mentally exhausted than I was before. There's a box full of Anagachi toys in the storeroom in the 3rd floor. Am I bringing those down? Anagachi? I ask. What's that? The name makes it sound like some sort of product knockoff. Mr. Yanagashita's face widens in surprise. You've never heard of them? They're Tamagotchis, but they're knockoff Tamagotchis. You know, Anagachi is a digital pet game where you raise an eel that lives in Tokyo Bay. A portable electronic game where you raise a conger eel, Anago, feeding it daily and clearing away feces. Depending on how you raise your eel, it can wind up developing into various forms, from normal eel to ultimate eel sushi. You can also use the infrared communication feature to bring over friends for your eel from another nearby Anagachi device. There's also a sister product, Trout Watch. By connecting the two, you can view special event where the eel and trout characters go to a pub together. I still can't believe the informant from W is the man who was trapped in the hotel room for months. Yeah. Never heard of it, I say. Huh. Well, I guess there's a lot of people in Japan haven't heard of it yet, but it's all the rage right now with the youngsters over at NYC. NYC? Oh, you must mean New York City. It's popular in New York? Really? Anyway, I did some quick checking, and that's what I learned, so last month I might have bought a bunch of them. Once again, you were swindled. Yep. Actually, that's a very ominous sentence you just typed in the chat. Ouch, Chiri dropping the hard truth. Mr. Yanagashita lets out a pathetic whimper. No! Just like that, his confidence evaporates. He starts muttering to himself. I thought it sounded a little fishy, really. I mean, think about it. Why would kids in New York be interested in raising eels from Tokyo Bay, he muses. What appeal would an eel character have anyway? None, that's what. I should have known that. I did know that. Why'd you buy them? This farce is getting tiresome. Anyway, Yanagashita continues, it was gonna cost way too much to keep them in storage, so I was just gonna let the recycling guy take them. He hangs his head in shame. In a matter of moments, he's borderline catatonic. Chiri, on the other hand, flashes a big, bright grin. Still, you know, the eel's pretty delicious. No, Chiri, Yanagashita blurts. Thank you. He claps her hands in gratitude. I wasn't exactly complimenting you there, boss. It's the same thing. There's a little bit of me in each of my products. Anagachi and I are one and the same. Which is to say, Eels and I are one and the same. No, but we sacrificed a Namekian, me, into a brutal death just for me to get stronger. You as a Namekian have Zenkai boosts? Come on then, say something nice about eels. Chiri chimes right in without missing a beat. Eels are awesome! When it comes to eel sushi, 100 pieces barely wets my palate. You know, those two make it quite a pair. That really means a lot to me, Chiri. Thank you. Thank you. I don't understand what any of this is about, but it helps mend Mr. Yanagashita's wounded spirits. I guess I can't complain. I'll leave them to their devices and head for the storeroom. They keep like trying to make Chiri like the quote unquote fat friend, but she's not even that big. I guess she's big for like Japanese standards, but like she's not even like, she's like a normal fucking weight. The storeroom door opens with a rough grating sound. Okay, now where's the light switch? I fumble around in the dark, feeling for the switch box. My costume paws mute the sensations in my hands enough that even finding that is difficult. I bat at the wall willy-nilly until eventually the lights come on. Apparently, I found the switch, even if I didn't feel it. Whoa, what the heck is this? The storeroom's practically overflowing with shoddy goods. A painting that looks like a child's scribblings, an oddly shaped hat bearing the words "Grow 2 inches guaranteed," a cheap-looking pendant with a tag that says it's set with a miracle stone. It's like this is a knockout boneyard where cheap products go to die. They break away from the pathetic herd, knowing their time has come, and end up in its graveyard storeroom. It won't grow no more, I promise. Let's see, Anagatachi. I quickly spy the cardboard box I'm looking for. Then I catch a sight of a dark silhouette out of the corner of my eye. Eek! I yelp. Everybody loves roaches. The size, the speed, the dark shape, it couldn't be anything else. It peers back at me from the shadow of the Anagachi box, the faint light catching the luster of its carapace. It looks ready to leap out at me at any moment. I snatch the cardboard box up and make like the wind. I snatch up the cardboard box and make a run for it. I kind of want to go back and see what happens if we challenge it to single combat. When I get back to the break room, Mr. Yanagashita is still clutching Chiri's hands. An eel's super tasty when you salt broil it too. Thank you. My tempura style is probably the best. Thank you. Well, Mr. Yanagashita's spirits have certainly turned around. Okay, got it. I hold out the big cardboard box. Excellent, thank you. You girls are the greatest, Yanagashita shouts. His voice resounds with gratitude. Hey, that's it! I just got an amazing idea! Why don't the three of us start our own company? No. Chiri and I respond in unison. Man, you two shut that one down quick. Oh well, for today, let's just focus on selling Burning Hammer. By the way, I asked, where is the Burning Hammer? There wasn't any in the storeroom, and I don't see any here either. Oh, that's right. It's out back on the loading dock. We should probably bring it in. Oh, and bring in the Anagachis, Tamagotchi, Anagachi. Bring the Anagachis with you too. The recycling guy's gonna be showing up soon. Come on, let's go. Chiri and I follow Mr. Yanagashita out of the loading dock. But the loading dock, it turns out, is empty. There's no sign of Burning Hammer anywhere. It's gone, Mr. Yanagashita murmurs. Then his voice rises to a shout. It's gone! All gone! The Burning Hammer, it's all gone! Flying into a panic, he searches frantically from one end of the dock to the other, leaping into the air, even peering down into the crates. But no matter where he looks, there's nothing for him to find. It was right here a little while ago. Like, right here. Right here. I hear the sound of an engine revving outside. Mr. Yanagashita cries out in alarm. You can see a truck starting to pull away. Its bed is piled high with cardboard boxes and other assorted trash. Hey boss, is that? There it is! Mr. Yanagashita begins racing after the truck. My burning hammer! His voice cracks as he cries out. Give that back! Give that back! But he's no match for the speeding truck. The boxes of burning hammer vanish before his eyes. Burning hammer! Come back! Yanagashita's wailing echoes from the surrounding buildings. It's like something out of a movie. What the hell? What's up with that truck? Tama, what? Who the heck was that? Hey, don't look at me, I reply. Huh? Well, with all the piles of stuff, it looked like it was the recycling guy. As soon as he says it, the revelation dawns on his face. The recycling guy, he mutters. I can see the color draining from his face. The words recycling guy give me an idea. If it was him, maybe he thought he was picking up the Anagachis by mistake. We have to find it! We have to find that truck! The man is absolutely beside himself. Chiri, Tama, you two split up and try to track it down. Wait, why do we have to look for it? Again, Chiri and I speak in chorus. If there's no sales demo, there's no money to pay you, and then all the work you've done will be for nothing. Right, when he puts it like that, I guess there isn't much of a choice. Somehow or another, we have to find that truck. You can't have gotten too far, he continues. Go hunt for it like your life depended on it. Chiri and I look at each other and sigh. How do you want to do this, she asks. Want to search together or should we split up? Let's go together. And so Chiri and I head out in search of the truck. As we make our way down the center guy, peering in all directions, I accidentally bump right into a man who's out with his daughter. Oh, pardon me. I hop back to my feet and go to bow to the man in apology. Ow! He bows at the same time and we manage to bonk our heads together. Sorry. As her dad drops to his knees, clutching off his head, the girl begins to wander off. Hana, wait! The man lurches to his feet and rushes after the girl. She seems like an odd kid, only 10 or so, but strangely cold and distant for her age. Okay, I don't think we were supposed to do that. We were supposed to give him instructions. As we make our way back down the road, Chiri's eyes light up on the cafe. Man, am I super hungry, she mutters. Not now, we have to find that truck. Yeah, I know. I stride purposely along, and though Chiri flashes the eatery a long lingering look, she falls into a step behind me. Chiri and I wander around town for another 10 minutes or so. We don't see any sign of the truck, though. Ugh, I sigh. It really is good and gone, huh? I turn to look back at Chiri. Huh? Wait, what? Chiri's gone. She must have slipped away from me from some point. I take a quick look around, but there's no sign of her. When did she split off? She was just there 2 or 3 minutes ago. It's 12:35. The sales demo starts in 25 minutes. What do? I don't have time to go looking for Chiri. Guess I'll keep searching for the truck all by myself then. But I have no clues to go on, so I don't know how I'm ever gonna find it. What should I do? Okay, I don't even think that was correct anyway. So that was Minorikawa that we just got locked out of, so... Is that still the bad end? All right, I'll pause to make sure that we don't get repeated content. Well, I mean, I think the progression of the story is fine. So I think, yeah, this is incorrect. I think we need to split up. All right, we split up. Shiri and I go our separate ways searching for the truck full of junk. Because I think what needs to happen is that I need to bump into the dude and tell him, give him directions, and Shiri needs to bump into Minorikawa and tell him where the venue is happening. You gonna have frozen pizza for dinner? What type of pizza? I make my way to Center Guy. So focused on searching all over as I lose track of time, I'm going in and bumping right into a man who's hurrying along with his daughter. Oh, pardon me. I hop back to my feet, give about blah. They bonk each other in the head. Mention the girl who could wander off. Oh no, wait. The man lurches his feet, rushes after the girl. Seems kind of odd. Nursing my own sore head, I make it all the way to Shibuya Station, but there's no sign of the truck. Probably never find it just by wandering around aimlessly. It's already 12:35. I have serious doubts about the find by then. What should I do? A roused pepperoni pizza with bacon bits added on. Get a lot of meat. Meaty ass pizza. Okay, and that should change Minorikawa. I think it changed it. Oh. Yeah, I can't go back. I can't go. Yeah. So now we can go back to Minorikawa. This is... No, we need to finish. Oh, hold on, that was new. Strange beeping sound broke Morikawa out of his writing reverie. Upon looking up in confusion, his found his attention drawn to a young woman at a table. And then one of these, and one of these. Oh, and this, and this, and this, and this, and that too. She finished with a broad grin. Let me just repeat your order back to you. 1 Japanese-style beef patty, 1 spicy fish roll or spaghetti, 1 chicken casserole, 1 French onion soup, 1 fruit parfait, 1 chocolate parfait, and 1 deluxe chocolate parfait. Would that be all? Which is anxiously waiting for confirmation. Okay, so the beeping is not supposed to be a bug device that we find, but that I'm sure that didn't have any. I'm sure that wasn't nothing. Why did that lady have a bug on her? You forgot the large caramel shake. The customer was a full-figured young woman ensconced in a nearby table. Oh, my apologies. The waitress quickly jotted down the addition to the order. That'll do it for now, the young woman said. For now? Yikes. She's actually planning on ordering more after that? Marveling at the display of appetite, Minorikawa went back to typing. Now what? He heard a strange beeping sound again, subtly different from the first time, and this time it was closer. Seriously, what the heck is that? You really like bugs? I guess so. The plump young woman set about devouring all the food she had ordered despite the strange look she was getting. Now that was an appetite to be reckoned with. It took her under 3 minutes to polish the lot. Jesus. Then, looking not at the least bit sated, she picked the menu right back up. Was she seriously gonna order more? Norikawa was starting to take an interest in this young lady. There might be a story here. He conjured up a series of headlines in his mind. Woman inhales 30,000 calories in 3 minutes. No, he needed something with more punch. Food for thought, an expose on obesity. No, that was not good. He wasn't running for a fashion mag here. A gourmet day in Shibuya. That was it. He'd been able to whip something up if he went with the foodie angle. Norikawa got up from his seat. That's pretty impressive, he said to the hungry diner. Do you always eat that much? The young woman glared back at him. Fun fact got redeemed. There's an adorable animal called a quokka. When it sees a threat, it throws its young at the predators and runs away. Oh my god. It perceives a threat and yeets its children and dips. Yeah, I think the way that works is that you can always have more children in the wildlife if you're alive to have more children. So I guess that makes sense. Yeah. How you doing, friendly friend? Not always, she said. Suddenly tension filled the air. Oops, was that way too blunt of me? I mean, she is a young lady after all. Maybe I should change my approach. Who the heck are you anyway? The woman asked. I'm a freelance writer. I was hoping I could do an interview with you real quick. You want to interview me? The suspicion was plain on her face. I do. I mean, girls all over the world worry about their diets, right? I hear that, yeah. So would you be willing to share your secret or your technique or whatever for how to eat without getting fat? What? Me? Sure, I mean, look at the figure you're maintaining despite eating all this food. Young woman's expression brightened up. Oh, you noticed? There's actually a lot that goes into this. Yeah? The basic thing, though, is to eat 10 meals a day. Norikawa struggled to keep his jaw from dropping. 10 meals a day? She flashed a chubby-cheeked grin. You don't know how diets work, do you? She chuckled. Eating only 1 or 2 meals a day, that's what will make you fat. You gotta space out your food into smaller portions throughout the day. Okay, the fucked up part is that she's actually correct, but she's not doing that. Just popping in briefly, just gonna go watch a movie about a house or something called The Room. Oh, that's a very funny movie. It's not supposed to be funny, but it's funny. Someone said it's one of the best movies of all time. It's a very funny movie. It's not supposed to be funny, but it's very funny. That's the fundamentals of dieting right there. Right, but what happened to the smaller portions part? Norikawa had to bite his tongue. It's a funny movie. It's not supposed to be funny, but it's very funny. You know that scene where like the guy, the meme of like, I did not hit her, I did not. Oh, hi, Mark. That's where that comes from. That's the movie. I see, he said. Any other pro dieting tips you could share? Well, for the basics, I always drink protein instead of tea, yeah? Drink protein all day? Seriously? Once again, it took all of Norikawa's willpower to keep his thoughts to himself. It's bullshit. I did not hit her. I did not. Oh, hi, Mark. Let's see what else. Oh, there's this stuff called Burning Hammer too, but she trailed off with a little wince. Wait, Norikawa perked up. Did you say Burning Hammer? Oh, you know it? I've heard of it anyway, Norikawa replied. He decided he was better off keeping his plans to head to the sales demo a secret. There's a sales demo later on if you're interested, the woman said as if she were reading his thoughts. Though, full disclosure, I'm working for them right now. She handed Minorikawa an advertising pamphlet. There was more detailed map for the venue included. A more detailed map for the venue. What a stroke of luck. Now, he didn't need to rely on crummy map in the project proposal anymore. He'd had no trouble finding the venue with his building's various floors all broken down for him. And actually, I gotta get back to work, the woman said. Sure, thank you so much for your time. I'm going to hang back and finish up my copy here. The woman left the cafe. Minorikawa went back to his laptop. That's a free meal. She just got a free meal. Or Grogreg's sister says a horrific story about a woman being beaten, and Tommy just goes, haha, funny story, Mark. My dad showed me the barbecue episode of Ted Lasso. Tell your dad spoilers. He'd gotten some new info on Burning Hammer's sales demo, but he'd also lost some more time. The surveillance camera piece still wasn't finished. It was going to be a near thing to get it done before the sales demo started. Yet instead of returning to writing, he got out his cell phone. What if Toyama had gotten another of one of his crazy ideas? If he tried to hang himself again, but thought that Minorikawa too worried to work on his copy. The phone rang several times before someone picked up. Mr. Toyama, where are you right now? Minorikawa asked. Right now? I'm on the run, somewhere near Shoto. Toyama was speaking in an oddly hushed tone. Shoto? After you left the office, some guys came by to collect all my debts, so I made a run for it. Okay, so he wasn't dead, but the situation was still pretty bad. Look, we'll get you through this somehow, Minorikawa said, hoping it was true. Just keep your head down and stay out of trouble. Stay where you are now. You need to go back to the office ASAP. The office? Well, they'll find me there for sure. Tomo's voice was little more than a pathetic whimper. It's a little bit of reverse psychology. Reverse psychology keeps you thinking that you as hot as me. The last place that debt collectors are going to think is that you went back to the office, right? Ah, I see, Toyama said. He sounded impressed by the suggestion. For now, just stay hidden until I can get these articles finished. All right, Toyama said weakly. He hung up. All right, that should clear up the issue with Kano. Minorikawa let out a deep sigh and then turned back to his laptop. All right, now we go back to Kano. Reverse psychology keeps you thinking that you as hot as me. Okay. Shit! Wasn't this supposed to change? That was supposed to change. What the hell? I'm still alive? What the hell? Oh, it didn't change. Okay, what am I doing then? Kano was taken off the case because he lost track of the suspect, blah, blah, blah. From conclusion, his father and daughter hadn't sure enough this would have happened. A certain someone needs to give these two better advice. A certain other someone needs to meet up with them outside his or her house. Okay, so no, we actually can't go back to Kano. certain other someone needs to meet up with them outside his or her house. Both of those are the keys. So I need to do something else. All right, well, let's go check out Achi then. Okay, let's go to Achi. Someone alter the future for me to stay alive. I have to bring that stupid time travel power for Final Fantasy 13 Part 2. Listen, that game was actually good. It just sucked to play. The story in that game was not the problem. It was really fucking grindy. Achi and Hitomi scampered through the back roads along Center Guy, white sneakers and pumps slapping on the pavement. Achi kept his eyes peeled, continually checking ahead and behind as they darted through the gaps between the buildings. Finally, they stopped in a narrow alley. "There's no way he'll find us here," he said. "No one knows about this place." He took another look around, then let out a sigh of relief. It seemed they managed to shake off the gunman for now. Give me 1 second. I just turned the fan off. It's getting kind of cool. Should we remind ourselves that Hope's creation, you keep saying other stuff for it to keep getting stronger, but we needed to smack talk him just with the fight to be over? Yeah. Man, I should go back and look at all the highlights of the Final Fantasy Marathon. Because God, Hope Hope is just the worst. Never in my life did I ever think that I did not want Hope. Back when Achi was with SOS, he had come through Center Guy practically every day. The gang had started out as a little more than a group of local teens. They didn't do much in particular, just horsing around and killing time. What mattered was that they were having fun. But it wasn't long before it wasn't all fun and games. Achi couldn't help but notice the slobs who were making a mess of Shibuya, dirtying it all up. He wasn't about to let them get away with it. Most frequently, it was folks who tossed cigarette butts on the streets or plastered walls in graffiti. Graffiti is cool though. When they didn't respond to his more gentle warnings, he found slightly more forceful ways of getting his point across. SOS got a reputation. Street punks started trying to pick fights with its members. Those guys required a bit more force to handle. And when it came to the worst of the lot, the drug dealers, the muggers, the guys who tried to force themselves on women, it was full-on battle, no holds barred. Before long, SOS had established itself as something of a vigilante corps. Soon, it became known as one of the biggest gangs in Shibuya. Let's lay low here for a bit and see what happens," Achi said. The alley where they hid was like a dimly lit chasm obscuring them from view. The only problem now was figuring out what to do next. They needed to find that blue van again, which meant figuring out the best way to get back to Dogenzaka without the man with the cane catching them once more. "Achi," Hitomi whispered. "I think I can handle myself from here." She got to her feet and gave Achi a deep bow. "Whoa," Achi held up a hand. "We've been over this already. You're not gonna be okay. That guy has a gun." If he let her go up against that assassin alone, he might as well be the one to pull the trigger himself. Thank you so much for everything you've done for me," Hitomi continued, as if she hadn't heard him. She started to shuffle out of the alleyway. "Hey, what did I just say?" "Really, Achi, I appreciate your concern, but I can't in good conscience put you in danger anymore." "But I mean," Achi tried to press the point, but Hitomi cut him off. "There's no good reason for you to risk yourself to keep helping me." Her tone was resolute. Achi was determined to help her anyway. He refused to back down. Look, I want to help people who are in trouble. What's so wrong about that? Huh? He locked eyes with Hitomi, willing her to understand. I'm not the most dependable guy, I know that. But still, Hitomi dropped her gaze and Achi trailed off, feeling like an idiot. No, it's no use. I'm no use. He hung his head with a sigh. Just then, a bit of light shone in the alleyway from above. It was someone who on the adjacent end of the building. Someone? Kama. This isn't her keep out, though. This isn't where her keep out is. I think I'm just gonna go back to... Achi. The light illuminated Hitomi's face. When Achi saw the look in her eyes, he reconsidered his decision. She was trying her hardest to hide it, but she was clearly terrified. No way was he letting her go back out there alone. Still, if he tried to insist, she would only refuse him again. Hitomi, humor me for a second here. Tell me, what's the proper way to dispose of a plastic bottle? She stared at him in surprise. Well, first you remove the cap and the wrapper. Then you rinse out the inside and crush it. Achi let out a breath he'd been holding. Okay, good. Huh? I don't understand. What's good? You gave me my reason why I have to help you out. I super respect people who respect the environment. I'm one of those whatchamacallits, an environmentalist. Achi pointed to the mean clean t-shirt. Hitomi hesitated. And what was your plan if I'd said the answer was to toss the plastic with the trash? Well then, I need to stick with you to help you teach you. Environmental awareness begins with good education. So then you were going to tag along with me regardless. Look, I'm just super pumped to learn that you care so much about proper recycling. Achi cracked a huge grin. Achi cares about the planet, he's woke. Okay then. Okay. If you're really that sure about it, I guess I could use your help a little while longer. Hitomi flashed him a little smile. Man, she's so cute, Achi thought. You're gonna sit here and tell me that the graffiti all over the place is not the sickest shit ever? Come on, man. Sitting out from the alley, Achi and Hitomi began to make their way along the side streets back toward Dogenzaka. It was a pretty big detour compared to taking the main thoroughfares, but that would be worth it if it meant they avoided the man with the cane. Achi looked over Hitomi and she walked alongside him. Her face was solemn. You could feel the intensity of her worry for her sister. Oh, well, look who's got himself a little cutie. The sudden call startled him as he spun around. Yo, mean clean, over here. Achi spotted a young man up ahead, staring at him. At his side were two others. Achi recognized the lot. SOS. Hitomi let out a nervous squeak. Achi, don't worry about them. He led her onward, attempting to stride right past the trio. Whoa, hey now, you just gonna ignore me? That's pretty damn rude, especially coming from someone who used to be an old buddy. The three toughs moved to bar Achi's path. Ooh, she hella fine. Ain't you gonna introduce us? Sorry, man, Achi said. I'm in a bit of a hurry here. He gave them a tepid smile. A big hurry, huh? Where to? Some love hotel in Murayamacho? Too rich? Another chimed in. She is streamer Achi? Achi? They burst out howling like a gang of monkeys. One of them crackled like a grinning idiot. Achi. Achi felt his anger boil. Okay, I think we actually are supposed to whoop their ass. These guys are in sore need of a major ass kicking. Achi stepped up to the ringleader. Tough dropped to the ground with a dull thud. Oh, sorry, that was terribly rude of me. Achi kept his tone light and jovial, but he eyed the others like a hawk eyeing its prey. Is he gonna be alright? Hitomi murmured. She looked at the man Achi had laid out with some concern. Nah, I'll be fine. They're gonna get an ass kicking. If that's all it took to knock him down, he's got no right to act all badass. Achi, huh? I don't think we've had the pleasure. A taller man with an angry gleam in his eyes had appeared atop the steps nearby. He must have turned up during the commotion. He radiated a distinct aura of menace. That's me, Achi replied. And just who are you? For once, it was someone he didn't recognize. The name's Yoji Kiryu. Kiryu? Used to roll with the gang from Ikebukuro until a few months ago, known as the Killer Whale of Bukuro. He answered any and all resistance with his fists. His crazy antics led him to being kicked out of the gang. However, and lately, he's been hanging around Shibuya. I joined up with SOS after you left. Now I'm Susumu's number 2 guy. The newcomer stared at Achi's face, sizing him up. Our legendary founder. I've heard so much about you. The founder. It had been a long time since anyone had called him that. There'd been a bunch of arguing over who was taking charge of the new group that was forming to set things straight in Shibuya. At some point, folks had started hailing him as the force behind SOS, but founder. And that was just something his buddies called him. He never paid it much heed. Shibuya was a place for fun, not hierarchies. At least in Achi's mind, that's how it all ought to be. Fucker got the Dojimon clan on him. Like how you busted up some mean old drug dealers, rescued your pals from Yakuza bondage. You're a real hero. Kiryu's tongue flicked from his mouth like a snake's. Hitomi shuddered. Achi couldn't blame her for being creeped out. But that's all in the past now, isn't it? Kiryu continued. You went modestly on your way. It's up to us now. And we've helped SOS grow by leaps and bounds to help carry on your legacy, no matter who stands in our way. The thought didn't sit right with Achi. If aggressive expansion was the name of the gang was losing touch with its roots. It wasn't about keeping Shibuya safe anymore. Make SOS bigger, huh? He said. I'm guessing that was Susumu's call as well. Kiryu didn't answer his question. His mouth merely twisted into a knowing sneer. In any event, I think these boys here need a little lesson in manners. The guillotine ought to do the trick. A capital punishment? No, they just mean actual guillotine. The other gang members started in alarm. Whoa, hey, just calm down, man. Please, anything but the guillotine. Kiryu pointedly ignored their pleas. Whoa, hey, what's the guillotine? Achi asked. Kiryu smirked. The guillotine is the guillotine. With me, worms. Without a glance back, Kiryu strolled away, with his 2 underlings followed him back unhappily. Achi wondered what lay in store for them, but right now he had more important things to worry about. Come on, let's go. He took Hitomi by the hand and they were back on their way. That's literally the opening scene from Yakuza. The one where Majima beats the shit out of that one guy. That's literally the same scene. Oh, Hitomi perked up. That's me. She reached her into her pocket and took out her cell phone. Huh? She stared at the screen with consternation. What is it? Achi asked. It's an email from Mr. Tanaka. Who's Mr. Tanaka? He works with my father. I'm not sure what I should do. Achi remembered that the criminal had warned her against contacting her family or the police. She seemed reluctant to even open the message. I'm sure it's fine to just read the email, he said. Besides, he's not the police and he's not your family. Yeah, you're right. Hitomi scanned the message anxiously. It sounds like he's worried about me, she said. Then does he know about the kidnapping? Yes, I know my father trusts him. And he's always been so... Hitomi cut herself short. Still, it was clear to Achi that she and this Tanaka person had some sort of close relationship. I wonder if it's safe for me to let him know what the situation is. Well, I think it should be, Achi told her. I mean, the kidnappers aren't going to know you sent an email, right? Hitomi began typing out a response. Achi watched over her while wild speculations running in his mind. There was no way a mild-mannered young lady like her could be dating one of her father's co-workers, was there? Okay, there's the keep out. It seems that Ashi has all of the keep out answers, the jump points. What's the guy? This guy's name? Osawa. It was an email from Hitomi. Stifling an explanation, he scanned the contents of the message. There's a man following me. He has a gun and I think he's trying to kill me. I'm safe for the moment, so try not to worry. The kidnapper warned me, told me not to contact my family or the police. Please keep this email a secret. But didn't Hitomi give the kidnapper the ransom? Osawa said. What could anyone want with her now? Tanaka shook his head uncertain. He wouldn't know any better than I would, I suppose. Did the police know about this? And if so, why haven't they said anything? He felt himself start to tremble as he searched for answers in Tanaka's silent gaze. Do you think this could be related to that other thing? I'll doubt it. If it were, why would they go after Hitomi? And I suppose you're right, but... Osawa was shaking outright now. Tanaka laid a hand on his shoulder. First, just calm down, and let's think about what we know about the kidnapper. His composure helped Osawa keep himself under control. They've taken Maria, the vice director continued quietly, along with a ransom of 50 million yen, and now they're after Hitomi. His gaze sharpened. Sir, do you think this could be someone who holds a personal grudge against you? A grudge? Osawa considered. He couldn't think of anyone who would have a reason to attack him. He'd been too caught up in virus research since his time in school to have formed any hostile rivalries. He didn't have any enemies that he knew of. Maybe someone's jealous that I became head of laboratory? He suggested doubtfully. He had held his position for years at this point. Why would that spur someone into kidnapping his daughter now? Has anything happened recently? Tanaka asked. Anything strange since you got back from overseas? Since I got back? Osawa's heart skipped a beat. It started pumping faster. The first thing that came to mind was the solicitation he'd gotten from the American laboratory. If he accepted the offer, it would put Okoshi Pharmaceuticals in quite a bind, possibly enough to warrant someone holding a grudge over it. But the only other person who knew about the potential transfer right now was his wife, Ai. No, Osawa said. Nothing. Not that I can think of. He couldn't bring himself to discuss the transfer with Tanaka. He felt a surge of guilt for contemplating leaving his trusted assistant behind. If he didn't make the move to America, he planned to recommend that Tanaka replace him as department director. Still, he didn't expect that to make up for his abandonment. Alright, I'll see what information I can find then, Tanaka said. The kidnapper had forbidden any contact with either family or the police, but Tanaka was outside of that circle, and he knew how to handle himself with discretion. I'm sorry to put this on you, Osawa said, and thank you. For now, let's see if we can get Hitomi to exchange some more emails. An uncomfortable thought suddenly occurred to Osawa. He blurted it out without thinking. Why do you have my daughter's contact information on your phone? Tanaka gave him a worried look. Sir, I promise I can explain once this is all over. And with that, he stepped out of the bathroom. Something in the tone of his final words left Osawa to wonder. Could it be that Tanaka and Hitomi were dating? He had hoped dearly for that not to be the case. Their age difference alone made it a disturbing one, let alone so many other considerations. Mamoru Tanaka is 40 years old and Hitomi is 19. Jesus, that is a big age difference. Holy fuck. This does not necessarily mean, however, that they could not date for all, or for fall for each other. Many couples with such an age difference between them wind up in a happy, committed relationship. That's not information that I wanted to know. I just wanted to know how old they were. Trying to put aside his paranoia, Osawa resumed his struggle with the clog in the toilet. Oh, goodness. Kajiwara reappeared, still toting the bucket. You seem to be having a lot of trouble there, sir. He made it sound like the whole mess was Osawa's fault. Of course I am. I've never had to do this before. Really? I think the research you do would be a lot more difficult than this. Fixing toilets gives me far more trouble, I'd say. So it would seem. Kajiwara stood watching as if Osawa's efforts made it an interesting show. I don't know the first thing about viruses, sir. I don't find unclogging toilets to be that difficult. Oh yeah? Osawa snapped. Then how about you fix the damn thing? Kajiwara really was a world-class pro at pissing people off. Are you sure? You don't mind? The detective asked. Be my goddamn guest. Osawa shoved the plunger into Kajiwara's hand. Leaving the detective to handle the toilet, Osawa marched back to his study. He turned on the CD player and lay back on the sofa, squeezing his eyes shut. He was seriously on edge. Kajiwara had totally broken his stride. What now? The door to the study slid slowly open. It's Detective Kajiwara, sir. Please don't come in here without asking. My apologies, Mr. Osawa. I just wanted to inform you that the toilet has been fixed. Right, fine. Osawa hardly cared. He just wanted this guy to give him a little peace. Oh my, is that really all you have to say, sir? Nary a compliment or encouraging word? Maybe a good job, Kajiwara, or you're getting a promotion, detective? Osawa blew out his breath in exasperation. How are you a detective? I'm not sure I get your meaning, sir. You were completely clueless. I'd like to ask your superiors to replace you with a detective who knows how to take his job seriously. Mr. Osawa, with all due respect, it's unusual for a precinct detective like me to be stationed here at a victim's home. What's your point? Not to brag, sir, but I happen to be an exceptional detective. Kajiwara beamed with pride. In fact, I've made an excellent showing in Superstar Detective contest we had in our social media service. For a moment, Osawa thought the bolt of incredulous anger that shot through him was the onset of a stroke. How could a single person be so utterly infuriating? You can't tell anyone about this, Kajiwara went on obliviously. But this summer, a new detective manga is starting based on me. Osawa spat out a peal of feigned laughter. A manga? I can tell you all about the plot, sir. Would you like to hear about it? I would not. It's about a telecommuting detective who solves major crimes using just his wits and his computer. Surely you'd like to hear about that, sir. I really wouldn't. I know I may not look it, but I'm pretty handy with computers. Kajiwara's eyes drifted over to Osawa's desktop. His hand darted to the mouse. In a matter of moments, he cleared up the screensaver and booted up a web browser. "Hey!" Osawa barked. "Don't touch that!" It was too late to stop the detective. The monitor showed the page for AyaNet, a fan page devoted to Aya Kamaki. Osawa's imminent rage stroke was beginning to make his vision grow fuzzy. "You come to this site regularly, sir?" "Regularly? Well, I'm not sure Osawa trailed off, feeling the heat of blush flare in his cheeks. "There's a lot of stuff on this site. Is there a section you primarily spend time on?" "Well, I mean, for my part, I really only go to the fan forums for folks 40 and over." "Aha!" With a twinkle of curiosity in his eyes, Kajiwara peered at the computer screen. Having his privacy invaded to this degree was the ultimate disgrace. "All right," Osawa huffed. "You're an amazing detective, Kajiwara. Just incredible. And I see you in a new light now. Now, if you would please get the hell out of my room." He tried to usher Kajiwara back through the door. "All right, sir," the detective said. "All right, I understand. I'll leave. But before that..." Kajiwara slipped his hand into his pocket. "I don't need a goddamn banana." "It's not that, Osawa, Mr. Osawa. I have something that I think might be important to you." He held out a small plastic bag. It was a scrap of paper of some sort. "What's that?" Osawa asked. "This is what was clogging the toilet, sir." With some hesitation, Osawa took hold of the bag. "Huh? That's..." The passenger's name here is listed as Kenji Osawa. In the plastic bag was a plane ticket, specifically the one for his upcoming flight to the US the following week. He left it out on his desk. How had it wound up flushed down the toilet? "This looks pretty important, sir," Kajiwara said. "I must say, it was pretty careless of you to accidentally flush it." A wry sort of smile came to his face. "Although," the detective added, "I suppose the question of who flushed it is another matter entirely." Someone was at a loss for words. Someone had tried to flush his plane ticket on purpose. He wasn't sure of it. He was sure of it. He knocked on the door to Ai's room, but there was no response. It didn't look like she'd gotten back home yet. Osawa let himself in. Damn, this room is ugly as fuck. The stinging scent of her perfume pervaded the room, which was decorated in all white. Clothes were strewn all about as if to put her slovenliness on display. It just screams depression. It just screams old. And then the messy room also screams depression. She'd been like this ever since they'd gotten married, and Osawa had long since stopped caring. It must have been Ai who tried to flush the ticket. He knew she didn't want him going to America, but still, couldn't she have found a better way to get rid of it? My prediction is that the daughter, Maria, found out that they were going to America and flushed the ticket and then fucking disappeared. That's my long shot in the dark. Thanks to her, he'd been stuck hunched over the damn toilet fighting with the plunger. Osawa sat down on the bed amidst the brand name clothing. Then he spotted something odd down by his feet. It was a gold cigarette lighter. Just when had Ai picked up smoking. Osawa picked up the lighter and set it on the shelf next to the bed. He started out of the room, but stopped as he noticed a scrapbook on the bookshelf. The rest of the shelf was filled with fashion magazines, so the scrapbook definitely drew his eye. Curious, he took it down and opened it. The book was filled with articles and write-ups about the results of Osawa's research and the company's various achievements. Flipping through the pages took him on a trip down memory lane. There was even an old company memo welcoming Tanaka on board as his new vice director. There was a photo of Osawa shaking Tanaka's hand at the party celebrating his new position. It was a little peculiar to think that she had bothered to keep something so trivial. A series of magazine articles was nestled between the pages further into the book. These hadn't been clipped out for inclusion in the scrapbook itself. Osoba glanced through them. I usually don't like frozen pizza, but that frozen pizza is actually good. I like DeGorno's. DeGorno's is pretty good. Floundering Okoshi Pharmaceutical arranges marriage of political convenience. It was a self-indulgent piece from some rag called 4-Star General Gossip from right after he and I had gotten married. When the piece had first run, he'd been too furious to read it. Now he gave it a quick looking over. It was pretty much exactly what he expected. It talked about how one of the corporate directors had sacrificed his daughter in order to keep one of his researchers on board. Referring, of course, to Makino offering Osawa Ai's hand in marriage. Rumors abound of marital strife between the newlyweds. The article went on to talk about how Ai had been dating another man before she and Osawa had gotten married. The whole thing was a bunch of puerile rubbish. Any marriage involved some kind of calculated self-interest, after all. I find it funny that their slogan is not deliveries DiGiorno, as if the delivery pizza isn't 10 times better than frozen pizza. But I do happen to like DeGorno's though. DeGorno's is pretty good. And yes, I'm going to keep saying DeGorno's. I know it's pronounced DiGiorno. I'm going to say DeGorno. It's funnier. Whatever the reason for their union, nothing changed the fact that I was now his wife. With a faint sigh, Osawa put the scrapbook back on the shelf. Why did she have a scrapbook to begin with? Feeling disconsolate, he returned to his study and began flipping through his CD rack. His eyes scanned for Aya Kamiki's album For Tomorrow Forevermore. A lot of her more experimental numbers were on that album. Given how discombobulated he felt right now, this is what he needed to hear. Again, Osawa reflected on how there had been a time when he didn't care about music at all. He simply purchased copies of most popular CD for the moment as birthday presents for his 2 girls. And that had just happened to be an album by Aya Kamaki. Hitomi was thrilled by the gift, but Maria hadn't seemed terribly fond of it. The next day, she tossed her copy back at his father's desk. Figuring that throwing it away would be a waste, Osawa stuck the CD into his computer and gave it a listen. He was immediately bombarded by the intense beat bolstered by bold, uplifting vocals. Aya Kamaki wrote her own lyrics, which did a fine job of conveying the emotions of a teenage girl. Osawa could hardly believe it. After listening to just one track, he was well and truly hooked. Before the day was out, he had purchased her entire discography. Huh? He muttered. For Tomorrow should have been in the CD rack, but there was no sign of it. Where the heck is it? Why isn't it here? For a moment, he wondered if he was going crazy, and then he remembered. He was at the lab. He wanted something to listen to on break at work, so he brought the album there. Damn it! Damn it! Damn it! Not being able to listen to it made him want to hear it all the more. It wasn't like he could go out and buy another copy right now either. He'd just have to borrow the copy he'd given to Hitomi all those years ago. Unable to contain his need to hear the music, he went into Hitomi's room. There he quickly rummaged through her CD rack beside his daughter's bed. Part of him felt like he was being a little sneak thief. According to the email Tanaka had shown him, someone was trying to kill Hitomi. Under the circumstances, he knew what he was doing was ridiculous, and yet he still couldn't resist the impulse to find the CD. Do kids even know what CDs are anymore? Because we have like Spotify and YouTube Music and all this other stuff. Do kids even know what fucking CDs are? But his efforts were to no avail. There were no Aya Kamaki CDs in the rack at all. Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart. What's a CD? Osawa pulled out every CD on the rack, but they were all classical music. He slumped back in disappointment. It had to be somewhere here in a room. Osawa jumped at the sound of a cell and fumbled to get it out of his pocket. Makino's name was displayed on the LCD screen. I'm out front. It was all Makino said before hanging out. Hurriedly, Osawa began tidying up the CD rack. As he worked, he thought about what he was going to say to Makino. To think that someone had violated corporate policy to such an unethical ends. It sullied his research. Osama wasn't about to let anyone get away with it. And yet, as he was about to leave Hitomi's room, a sudden uncertainty gripped him. He hesitated. Did he have any right to condemn Makino for running trials in secret? His hand began to sweat as it gripped the doorknob. No, he didn't. How could he? His hands were dirty in all this too. It really isn't. We need to keep this a secret, just between us. It'll be fine. We've already cleared animal testing. The memories hovered. Osawa himself had already administered an antiviral to someone, hadn't he? Oh, okay, then yes, it is yeah, you are complicit. It was the only way. Muttering to nobody in particular, Osawa trudged toward the front door of his house. Alright then. The first end. Well, I mean, of noon. Okay. Who do we want to go back to, though? I guess we go back to Achi? Because we jumped off? Writing the note down. Okay. Tell me, give me campaign on response. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. Unless she was all about finding herself a sugar daddy. No, he was being ridiculous. Achi banished the thought from his mind. Besides, Hitomi's personal life wasn't the problem right now. The problem was that psycho with the cane and gun. Is something wrong? Hitomi asked. She finished sending her email. Oh, no, nothing at all. Achi did his best to look nonchalant. It was a good thing she couldn't read his mind. They exited Center Guy and resumed their approach toward Dogenzaka by way of Maruyamacho. Another long detour to decrease their odds of running into the gunman. They made an unlikely pair. Scruffy Achi, limbs lackadaisically raised, swinging his to his. Reading is hard, chat. They made an unlikely pair. Scruffy Achi, limbs lackadaisically swinging to hide his embarrassment, and brisk, purposeful Hitomi. Achi found himself watching her out of the corner of his eye. He could still feel her anxiety. He wished there was some way he could ease her fears. Hey Hitomi, mind if I ask you something? Oh, sure, go ahead. Okay, so like, I realize this might be kind of a weird question, but he put on a serious face. What does eco and eco-friendly mean? Huh? Like, I know it's about helping the earth and all, but I don't actually know what it means, you know? Hitomi thought for a moment. I'm pretty sure it's short for the English word ecology, which is the science of examining the relationships between man and nature. Oh, right, science. Yeah, bitch! Pleased with himself, Achi chattered on excitedly. A faint smile crept back onto Hitomi's face. Say, you ever hear about the clean river here in Shibuya? A clean river? In Shibuya? Really? Ask 100 youngsters outside of Shibuya Station the same question and you'd probably get the same answer 100 times. Yeah, the Shibuya River. Thank you for the people who got that joke. You know, that drainage channel, I said Chanel. Channel we saw earlier? Wait, that's the clean river you're talking about? By no reasonable definition was the Shibuya River what anyone would call clean. That's the one, Hachi grinned at her confusion. See, the river used to be clean a long time ago. I read about it in this old book called Science Strikes Back. I used to have that book, Hitomi chirped, her eyes wide with excitement. You're talking about that bit with the river that got turned into a song, right? Yeah, that's the one. You read it too? I did. And she felt a giddy rush at the unexpected connection they shared. Imagine if there was still a clean, beautiful river in Shibuya. It'd be the perfect place to be taking a romantic stroll. Hitomi looked up at Achi. She seemed to share his joy in the idea. Wouldn't it be amazing, Achi said, if that dirty little channel could be clean like it used to be? It would. Maybe as amazing as the book on Hitomi's face right now, Achi thought. Hold on 1 second. Sorry, I was dealing. I was talking to Dizzy. She seemed happy to oblige, and so they walked off. Hitomi explained the bits of the knowledge she picked over picked up over the years. Archie was quiet, hanging on her every word. The return to Dogenzaka became an impromptu environmentalism lecture. Hitomi continued until she'd exhausted her ready knowledge. I just don't get it, Archie grumbled when she paused at last. I mean, why is it a bad thing if the planet gets warmer? Wouldn't that make winter places like Hokkaido way easier? No, you see, because if the whole planet gets warmer, it'll cause the whole ecosystem to collapse. Archie racked his brain. And the ecosystem is what again? Is that like a solar system? Images of the cosmos filled his imagination. No, not really, Hitomi said. So it's more like a sound system then? Not really. Oh, but anyway, you're saying that the problem isn't the, what was it again? Carbon dioxide. Yeah, that stuff. I'm gonna have to cut down on that. Sure. That settles it, Archie declared proudly. No more soda for me. Soda? Hitomi asked. Yeah, it's carbonated, right? Hitomi burst out laughing. What? I'm serious. You don't think I can do it? I'm sorry, Hitomi said, catching her breath. It's just... Her face froze. Her mirth abruptly vanished. Oh no. Huh? Archie stared at her face in alarm. What is it? He turned his attention to the direction Hitomi was looking. The man with the cane was bearing down on them. How the fuck did this nigga find us? Oh, come on, you gotta be kidding me. He grabbed Hitomi's hand and ran. This time, he headed for the main road, hoping to get lost in the crowd. Hitomi struggled to keep up. She was exhausted after their earlier running. You can do it, he told her. This guy's got a cane, you can outrun him. The assassin was still hurrying after them. Once we get around the next corner, we'll be out of the main road. Yeah, okay. She strained to get the words out. Bit by bit, her feet were slowing down. It was another 50 meters or so to the main road. Archie realized they might get caught before they got there. Sorry, Tommy, he exclaimed, but I gotta do this. He scooped her up in his arms. Ah! By the time the squeak had escaped her mouth, Archie was already running full out. Archie, please put me down? Don't worry, you're super light. Archie glanced back and she saw the assassin now far behind, break off his pursuit. But just as they rounded the corner, he heard the man call out to him. Archie almost stopped on reflex. Hold on, did he just shout my name? How the heck does he know my name? Quaking with unease, Archie slipped into the crowd. Archie, could you put me down now? A meek voice pulled him from his panic. Huh? He looked down at the girl in his arms. People in the crowd all around were watching them and chuckling. I mean, I'm really happy you saved me and all, but being carried around like this is, Hitomi was blushing beet red, but Archie's expression had gone pale. Archie, wait. Had he really heard that right? That's what it sounded like. He set Hitomi on her feet, but then used his shirt sleeve to wipe the sweat from his face. You okay? Hitomi asked. We were running just now. Did that guy say anything? Not that I heard, no. Huh. He just imagined it then? Maybe Archie was sure he didn't recognize the man. There's something weird about that guy, though, Hitomi murmured. She furrowed her brow. No matter where we run, he keeps catching up to us. It's almost like he knows where we're going. She was right. Finding a particular pair of people in a place as big as Shibuya bordered on impossible, and yet somehow the assassin had tracked them down several times in a row. Yeah, Archie said. It's like he's got some way of locating us or something. He got a sudden idea. That's it. What if they're doing the whole tracking thing, but like backwards? What? Hitomi's eyes widened. Okay, so you know how like in police shows they always stick a tracking device in a bag with the ransom money like that, but backwards. Backwards? Yeah, like instead of putting the tracker on the money, they put it on you. Hitomi frowned. I don't see how that could possibly have a tracker on me, he said. I mean, I'm just wearing my clothes from home. Oh, huh. Well then how is he doing it then? Barely a moment passed from the moment he got the words out of his mouth. Once again, the man with the cane stepped out of the road ahead of them. It really did seem as if he'd known exactly where they were going to be. How the hell is this happening? Achi groaned. He reached for Hitomi's waist, ready to pick her up again. It's okay, I can run by myself. Achi took her by the hand instead and raced into another alley. This guy just will not give up. At the far end of the alley, he could see a forklift parked beside the pile of cardboard boxes. Achi decided to throw the boxes at the pursuer. Achi snatched up the nearest box in turn and threw it with the man at the cane. The box is filled with something heavy. This ought to do some damage. He watched the satisfaction as it struck the assassin in the face. The man staggered sideways. Here, have another! One by one, Achi hurled every box in the pile. And one for the road! The last box wasn't properly sealed. It broke open as it struck the pursuer, sending several bottles flying. They shattered as they crashed into the street, splashing the red liquid. Oh, I need to not do that. The assassin dropped to one knee, scrubbing at his face with his hand. Achi looked at Alan in surprise. He couldn't possibly have hit the guy that hard. Peering at the man more closely, he saw what was spattered was the red liquid. Apparently, the stuff in the bottles had gotten in his eyes. Now's our chance! Achi took off with Hitomi, leaving the pursuer kneeling in the alley. I think I needed to not do that, but the ragged breathing echoed through the maze of the side streets. All that work just to wind up fleeing for their lives again. Achi ground to his teeth in frustration. Hitomi, he groaned when they slowed down to catch their breath. At last, I'm so sorry. Hitomi was nonplussed. Sorry? Whatever for? I kept saying I'm gonna help you, but instead I keep putting you in danger. Achi, no. If you hadn't been with me, I'm sure I'd already be dead. No, Achi hurried to cut her off before she could finish. Don't go there, please. He sighed, then spoke again more quietly. I just want to help you. Clenching a fist, he looked up at the sky. A tiny sliver of blue visible through the narrow gap between the buildings. Hitomi hung her head. Honestly, I can hardly believe how much you've done for me. I do appreciate it, but still. The lengths you've gone to. Achi looked at his feet, then drew himself up. Well, I admit it's not just because of some gut instinct or your love for the environment, he said. There's another reason I'm doing this. There is? Achi paused, searching for the right words. I've got a little sister. Her name is Suzune. She's cute and smart, kind of exact opposite of me, you know? The voice took on an uncharacteristic solemnity. But she's got a weak heart, so she's in the hospital. Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. What does that have to do with wanting to help me? Back when Suzune was first admitted, I go and visit her every day. But she... Achi, you don't need to come visit me every day, you know. The quiet hospital room made Suzune's voice sound all the more frail. What are you talking about? Achi said. You know I'm worried about you. I'll be fine on my own, really. Achi had heard that line before. The more she insisted she was fine, the more reluctant he was to leave her. Besides, aren't you and the amazing guy who helps hold Shibuya together? They need you out there. Achi didn't know how to respond to that. Much as it was flattering to think he played some important role, he was really just hanging out and goofing off with his pals. It certainly wasn't anything for a sister to be proud of. I'd rather you spend your energy helping people who need it more than me. What do you mean people who need more help? Help more? Who could possibly need help right now more than you? Archie scratched his head in confusion, and his sister gave him a weak, tiny smile. They'll figure it out, she said. I'm sure they'll find you soon enough. But I'm gonna be here with you. I'll be fine. Suzune's face was pale, but her tone was firm. My big brother is gonna be out there doing his best to help people. That's what makes me happy. That's what keeps me going. Her voice was clear and unwavering, as if to head off his rebuttal. All right, she said with a reluctant sigh. So then, I guess, I'll just go out there and help people who are in trouble? Satisfied, Suzune smiled. Thank you. And can you promise me one more thing? Of course. Anything you like. He thumped himself on the chest. If you're going to help someone, make sure you see it all the way through to the end, okay? Okay. No calling you quits partway through, yeah? You got it. I just worry, Suzune said. I know you have a tendency to lose interest in things. Look, don't sweat it. I swear I won't give up on this. Archie stuck out his pinky finger. But I want you to promise me one thing in return. Promise me you won't let this thing beat you. Suzune hooked her little finger around her brother's. Her sad smile, fragile as glass. And so there you have it, Archie said. Kind of a rubbish story, I know, not very funny. So your sister's heart condition, it's pretty bad? Archie nodded. You know, she called me amazing. There's nothing amazing about me. Suzune, she's the amazing one. She'd been in the hospital for so long in so much pain, but she never complains. All I do is hang out and goof off with my friends. He gave a shrug. But I just kept thinking about how happy she'd be if I really did help people. It had turned out that finding people in need hadn't been all that simple. The only helpful thing Archie had been able to think of was going around picking up trash. And that's why Suzune's idiot brother left SOS to be Shibuya's garbage man. Did your friends know? Hitomi asked. About your sister? I didn't tell them. I didn't want to pin this all on her being sick. I see. At least now Hitomi understood what the fight with the local toughs had been about. The sound of approaching footsteps struck them back into the present. The man with the cane appeared at the end of the alley. He raised his gun. There was no time to flee. Archie quickly stepped in front of Hitomi. If you shoot us here, people are going to come running, he said. I'm guessing you don't want to get pegged for murder? The assassin didn't flinch. Stay out of my way, Archie. This time there was no doubt. The gunman had spoken Archie's name loud and clear. How do you know who I am? The man stared at him through the sights of his gun. She has to die, Archie. It's for your own good. What? What does he mean? Hitomi whispered. Archie, what is he talking about? Archie's mind was a whirl. Things were coming at him too fast for him to process. I don't know this guy, Hitomi. Hitomi, please, you have to believe me. But... Hitomi took a doubtful step away from Archie. The assassin didn't miss his opening. He quickly aimed at her. Cut the crap, man. What do you mean killing her is for my own good? Once she's dead, you'll understand. The gunman's finger tightened on the trigger. All right, let's go to Tama, because if that's not correct, then I have to fix it. Oh, I have to jump to Tama. Okay, well then I guess I gotta go to Kano. Did I fix this? I don't think I did. It didn't feel like I fixed it. For right now, I'll pause the recording and make sure we get to the correct area. Okay, I hit please leave me alone instead of get out of my room for Osawa. This is a different thing, but I don't know if this is the correct thing we needed to do. Osawa fled the room. He needed to be alone, if only for a few moments, but even if he could somehow shake Kajiwara, the other detectives had his eyes all over his house. He had reached the limits of his patience. He couldn't even think straight anymore. He headed for the back door, trying to avoid the police. Opening the door quietly, he slipped across the yard and out through the back fence. He didn't want to venture too far from the house. He found a tiny alley and took cover there, thankfully for a few moments to himself at last. While there, he caught sight of there it is. He caught sight of a man and a young girl, father and his daughter, running past him on the main road. It looked as if they were running from something. The man glanced anxiously back over his shoulder, dragging his daughter by the hand. Osawa watched absently as the pair rounded the corner and disappeared from sight. Not long after, a pair of thuggish-looking men came running along, heading in the same direction. "You there," one of them called out. "You see a guy and his daughter around here?" Oh. There we go. I'm actually going to go back to... this because we're almost done with this time block. So I'm going to go back and head back to Osawa and finish his time block. Now that I have the correct order. Not long after blah blah blah. Osawa feigned ignorance. "Don't think so, no." "Come on, Yutono, let's go," said the older man. "Aye," replied the other. The two dashed off in the direction the father and daughter had gone. Osawa took several long deep breaths. He managed to calm down slightly, but worry gnawing his away at him still lingered. Osawa groaned inwardly when he got back to his study. "You're still here?" "Yes, sir. I was told to keep my eyes on you after all." "Believe me, it shows. Mr. Osawa, if you're going to go outside, I'd appreciate if you let me know first." "What?" Had Kajiwara realized he'd snuck out of the house? But more importantly, Kajiwara reached back to his suit pocket and gave him the fucking ticket, yeah. Yeah. So this is all the same. Alright, now we have that ending. Alright, the rest of this should be the same, right? I don't know if I even need to go through the rest of this. Okay, I don't. Hideo Kojima could never. I'm pretty sure he could. Although that would be that Kojima game would be insane. Back to Minorikawa. What if Toyama had gotten another of his crazy ideas? Oops. Oh boy. If he tried to hang himself again, the thought of him coming, blah, 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 blah. Phone rang several times before someone picked up. Mr. Toyama, where are you right now, Maruka asked. Right now, I'm on the run, somewhere near Shoto. Shoto, blah, 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 blah. We need to head back to the office ASAP. Subversive psychology keeps you thinking you as hard as me. For now, just stay there until I get these articles finished. Turn back to his laptop. I just got out of this. Just got out of this. Thought I got out of it. What the fuck? Am I tripping? Okay, is that not the correct keep out? What happens if I choose this one? Okay, nothing. It's the same shit. I'm pretty sure I'm supposed to tell them I'm pretty sure I'm supposed to tell them to get not to the office. And they'll find him there. Okay, so what now? What do I do? Surely this is the same, right? Oops. Shit. Is it the other advice then? Or do I really need to go through the rest of this? I shouldn't need to. It says choice A now. Surely this is still not right though, right? This is tricky. Yeah. All right, Chad, any ideas? Did I miss something? I don't think I missed anything. Oops. Oh, fuck. Okay. No. This is after that. Yeah, this is after that. Where does this jump to? What is this? Okay, I just missed it. Okay, I didn't do anything wrong. I just missed it. Minorikawa took a look at his wristwatch and gritted his teeth. Damn, is it that late already? I need to head for the sales demo. The surveillance camera article was going to be done. There we go. As he was slipping his laptop back into his bag, his cell phone rang. He looked at the screen and saw Chiaki's name listed as the incoming caller. Was she done with her interviews? Hurriedly, he picked up. Chiaki, how's it going? Several wet sniffles came through the receiver. Hey, are you crying? It's no use. Chiaki's voice was indeed punctuated by sobs. People won't stop to talk to me no matter how hard I try. Oh, come on, this again? Really? I can't do it. Don't worry about paying me. Just please let me go home. Kawa was already operating on a too tight schedule. He didn't have time to worry about Chiaki on top of it all. Look, just slow down and take a breath. Try to keep at it a little longer. You should have seen it coming when you first called her. Her shiny surprisingly blah, 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 blah. Sorry, I really am. Look, just calm down. Minorikawa was practically screaming into his phone. Just stay where you are until I get there, okay? Got that? Whatever you do, just don't move. Leaving the money out for his coffee on the table, he strode out of the cafe. Street interviews were tougher than they looked. Not many random passerbys were willing to stop it and do a back and forth. Still, being able to talk to people on the street was a fundamental skill for a freelance reporter. All Minorikawa wanted was for Chiaki to put in a little effort and make it happen. Although he found her personally frustrating, he actually quite liked her writing. Reading her words, you never guessed what she was like in person. If she could just break the right story, he was sure readers would be quite taken with her. There was no time like the present. The plaza outside Shibuya Station was as crowded as ever. We've been in this plaza. I'm specifically thinking about Persona 5, but yeah. Minorikawa looked around and soon spotted Chiaki. "Hey, what are you doing?" he asked. She was hunkered down in front of the statue of Hachiko, squatting in an odd position. A group of kindergartners were gathered nearby, peering at her with sadness in their eyes, like she was a stray dog or something. "What's this all about?" Minorikawa asked. "This is how I end up when I lose my self-confidence. I just want to hide." "Oh, for crying out loud, get up, will you?" I don't wanna." "Stop crying." Chiaki sniffled and wiped her eyes. "Let me ask you this," Minorikawa stared down at her. "What was it that made you want to be a freelance writer?" Well, I can't see too well, but Chiaki looks like the actress that plays Hiyori in Kamen Rider Kabuto. I can't tell though because it's currently blurry. I guess because I wanted to try my hand at writing. Does comically large lollipops look good? I don't know if you guys have ever had those, but they are pretty good. A ding bit of mucus bobbed in as Chiaki's left nostril she spoke. "Okay," Minorikawa followed. "And why's that?" Well, I'm too embarrassed to say. I had a giant-ass cookie once." "Nice." "Like you had one at Disney?" "Nice." "You were just at Disney? You were in Disney. Did you meet Mickey Mouse?" Shaggy hid her face in her hands. "Okay, never mind that then. Right now you have a task that's been handed to you. You can't just say you can't do it." Minorikawa tried to keep his tone calm. No magazine in the world is going to let a novice writer just write about whatever they want. You have to prove yourself first. Get your fundamentals down. "I already know all that." Minorikawa took the notebook from Chiaki's hands. "Hey!" she squeaked. "Wait, you've only talked to one person so far?" There sure wasn't going to be a story in that. "Yeah, well, not one person exactly." "Huh? Wait, what's this here? A cat?" "No, I mean, yes, there was a person in a cat costume." "Here's the last one." There we go. And here's Tama. There we go. We finally got through it all. Now we just gotta read the rest of it. He's gonna arrest the cat lady? That's the reporter, not the detective. Where could this truck that took the burning hammer possibly have gone? I'm standing there racking my brain when I hear a voice out from behind me. Excuse me. Are you, happy with your life right now? Okay, so now that we actually have a good look at her, she looks nothing like Hiyori. I turn to see a woman holding a notebook. Huh? I mean, sorry. Do you mind if I ask you a couple questions? I do not have time for this right now. I'm more than a little busy. No. I mean, I understand if you can't. She's giving me this hyper-intensive stare. I can't tell if she's trying to be intimidating or if she's actually afraid of me. Something about her is definitely off. Way too jittery and suspicious for my liking. Whatever she wants, I'd rather not get involved. I'm actually pretty busy, I'd say. Oh, but, I mean, just really quick? It'd be a huge help. Please? But, please? Please? She bows so many times, she looks like she's one of those drinking birds. I mean, we do have to talk to her, right? Otherwise, the other timeline gets blocked off. Can't help but feel bad for this poor girl. I guess I can give her at least a few moments of my time. Alright, but please make it quick. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. She goes back into drinking bird mode. So, what's the question? Oh, right. So, are you, happy with your life right now? Right now, as you can see, I am a cat. Oh, a cat. Yes, I see. A cat. So, yeah, I'll put down cat. She writes down the word cat in her notepad. Right. Thank you. Huh? Are we finished already? Yes. Yes, we can finish right there. She hangs her head a little and looks away. Well, that sure was quick. I'm not sure I get what it was all about. Did I really give her enough to be useful? I doubt it, but hey, at least it was over fast. I head off in the search of the burning hammer once more. Chad, are you happy? No matter where I wander though, I don't spot the truck anywhere. Now there's only 15 minutes before the demo's supposed to start. I'm content then happy. The correct answer was I am a cat right now. I better make my way back to the venue. Maybe Chidi had better luck in her search? In that case, meow. Back at the break room, I'm met by Mr. Yanagashita, who positively radiates despair. Did you find it? No, I'm sorry, I tried. Yanagashita's shoulders slump further at my response. Have you heard from Chidi? I asked. No, nothing yet. I guess she's our last hope. All of a sudden, Mr. Yanagashita holds up a pendant. The situation's rough. I'd like you to wear this. It's a miracle stone like the one I saw back at the storeroom earlier. This ought to kick up your luck a notch. Now I see that Yanagashita is wearing another miracle stone around his own neck. One bit of sham merchandise to help find another. Nice. This is a pinnacle of pitiful. That's what this is. Hurry up and put it on before the luck runs out. Mr. Yanagashita's eyes are bloodshot. Something tells me that refusing his request would be wise right now. Wouldn't be wise right now. After a moment's hesitation, I take hold of the pendant. The stone is blue and glittering. Is that Chiri? Mr. Yanagashita squeaks. He whips out his phone. No, sorry, he mutters after listening for a moment. I think you have the wrong number. Guess it isn't Chiri after all. Okay. And yet he stays on the line. Huh? Really? His tone suddenly does a complete 180. Yes, please. Thank you so much. As soon as he hangs up, Yanagashita strikes a victory pose. It's a miracle! Burning Hammer is back, baby! The recycling guy realized his mix-up and returned the boxes to the loading dock. Yeah, I need to not throw those boxes. Whoa, for real? You girls did great! Thank you from the bottom of my heart. I've never seen someone come so close to literally jumping for joy. I'm gonna go prep for the demo room. Tama, you go bring the burning hammer inside. With that, Mr. Yanagashita practically flies out of the room. No way, I murmured to myself. This thing didn't actually work, did it? I examined the miracle stone more closely. It just looks like some kind of toy jewelry. Wish that I actually get paid my 20,000 yen. Hey, it's worth a shot. With the miracle stone still clutched in my hand, I hurry out to the loading dock. And the cases of burning hammer are knocked over and fucked up because I threw them. I brace myself before actually stepping out into the door. It's there! It's really there! The cardboard boxes are scattered around outside. Wait, scattered all around? What happened to them? I suddenly have a very bad feeling about this. Apprehension gnaws at me as I open up one of the boxes. No! I I shriek, my vision dims. The box is full of bottles of burning hammer, all of them smashed to pieces. It's a crime scene. Oh, that was the correct thing to do. Oh. Interesting. Alright, I think we just have to finish Minorikawa, and we also have to do this. Okay, so do you guys want the reporter or the... Actually, you know, we'll do the detective off last. Let's go back here. I thought since I couldn't see their face, it'd be easier to ask them stuff. Fine, whatever. Food? Give me 1 second, chat. There's food. That's what I got up earlier for. They were gonna throw a bunch of stuff in the freezer, and I was like, no, we have HelloFresh. Make the HelloFresh. Fuck, it's good though. Fine, whatever. Now get back out there and get me some more. Go get me some more. Murakawa steered Chiaki toward the passing crowd. What now? Yes, what now? Yes, now. We've got no time to waste. I'll even stand by and watch for a minute. Now, enough with the excuses and get out there. Murakawa looked on as Chiaki wandered through the crowd. Her anxious demeanor seemed to repel everyone around her. On the rare chance she did manage to flag someone down, the way she stammered through her initial question made them take right off again. After a minute or two, she shuffled her way back, shoulders slumped. See, it's hopeless. Okay, some advice. First off, you aren't approaching the right people. Some people are clearly in a rush, you know. You're not going to have much luck if you flag down a businessman who's visibly in a hurry. Now, folks who are waiting for someone, couples, groups, they're going to be less on their guard. But I mean, if I do manage to nab someone, how do I keep the conversation going? Chiaki asked. That was indeed the tricky part. Whenever I get an answer I'm not expecting, I get all flustered. Chiaki, have you ever played tennis? Tennis? Well, yeah, I was in my school's tennis club. She struck Minorikawa as being more than the manga club type, but there's neither here nor there. How was the HelloFresh service? It's pretty good. Hashtag not sponsored, but I mean, we do use it every week. Okay, that'll make this simpler. What's more fun, rallying with an opponent or hitting the ball off the wall? Rallying with someone else, of course. Minorikawa gave that hearty nod. And why is that? Because when you hit the ball off the wall, you already know where it's going to come back to. Revelation dawned on Chiaki's face. Oh. It's the same with interviews, Minorikawa said. Don't get flustered, enjoy the rally. But I don't think I composed enough to enjoy it. Don't overthink things, just let yourself enjoy the small talk. Small talk? Oh, I'm sure I'm not any good at that. She was starting to waffle again. Okay, let me ask you this, Minorikawa said, taking a step closer. Are you happy with your life right now? I'm not happy with my life right now. No, Chiaki muttered. She hung her head in dismay. Okay, so start with that, Minorikawa said. Huh? Chiaki blinked up a few times as she lifted her head back up. I'm not happy with my life right now, but what about you? Like that? Oh, okay. A sliver of liveliness had crept back into Chiaki's face. Minorikawa jabbed his finger right in her face. Right there, he said. Put on that face when you flag people down. Chiaki's smile widened. I'll give it a shot. Thank you so much. Sure thing. Good luck. Chiaki strode enthusiastically into the crowd. And she tried to flag down a Westerner who was walking hurriedly past. Did she even listen to a word I said? Norikawa felt his short-lived triumph melt away. Am I just gonna have to teach her everything again from scratch? I'm trying to get a bite, but I can't grab the damn rice. Then he paused in surprise. Hold on. Okay, good. Whoa. Chiaki had snatched the man by the arm in an attempt to get him to stop. To Norikawa's amazement, the gambit worked. For long, it looked like the two were engaged in some kind of animated conversation. Maybe she would get an interview out of this after all. Heck, the look on her face was actually somewhat confident. Sometimes people could surprise you once you got past their surface issues. Now Norikawa could head to the Burning Hammer sales demo with a little more peace of mind. Speaking of which, crap, what time is it? In a panic, Norikawa checked his wristwatch. The demo, what did it say? He would think about this wristwatch. That will tell you how you think about the opposite sex and whatnot. What? What the fuck does that, what? The demo was set to start in less than 5 minutes. Uh-oh, he really was cutting it close. Norikawa sprinted through the intersection, heading for Center Guy. All right, one more. Is this still fucking wrong? Why are you bitches still here? Ugh. Man, this is probably the hardest one we've gotten so far. Damn it. It's the jump point. This is where they meet him outside the house. I don't understand. Are we missing something? I don't know. The hint is that they need to get met by outside the house, and someone needs to give them better advice. Well, we made him outside the out of Osawa's house. And I did both advice pieces here. Well, it's time to start using our good old friend Ghoul. See what I'm missing. I'm laughing because I found the first thing that shows up is the part we're stuck at. Okay, back to the precinct. All right. Okay. Do I actually need to show him the thing? I guess this is the only thing we didn't do differently. I just found the bad end and what the choices that lead up to the bad end. I didn't actually find a solution, so this might still be wrong. Well, there's 70 plus bad endings. I don't doubt it. We got like 10 in the first thing, in the first stream. Nope, still wrong. Shit. The guides are wrong. They say that you should choose option B for Morikawa. Morikawa. Tell him to go back to the office. what you should choose is lay low somewhere. Then you switch to Osawa, and you get the option to help him evade the pursuers. Okay, so there was just. Okay, so we need to choose option A. There's a fandom website for the time chart. Oh, excellent. Maybe keep that tabbed up in the future. Okay, so that happens. This changes this option. But they hide in some bushes instead. So I thought he recognized this fugitive too. He couldn't remember where from. All right, help him evade the pursuers. Okay, so basically they're just staying inside the shed, and that should clear up the issue here. Yeah, there it is. That was the hardest one by far. I'm trying to get my food down my face. Kind of was certain that the handoff was about to take place. And sure enough. Is that fucking Landy Pator? The second man approached the one holding the attaché case. Who? The guy who plays Vegeta in Dragon Ball Z Abridged. After exchanging a scant handful of words, he took the case and walked off. Sasayama? I'll hand the guy with the case. Got it. Sasayama broke into a run, chasing after the men who'd taken the ransom. Kano hung up his phone and rushed to close the distance with the other men. You there, stop where you are! The suspect turned and Kano recognized his face. He was indeed a member of the foreign crime syndicate that operated in Shibuya. Is the hostage safe? Kano demanded. The man's only response was an unsettling grin. Answer me! But though he repeated the question, the man remained silent. Took out a pair of handcuffs and reached in for the suspect's wrist. The man pulled out a knife from his breast pocket and swung it right at Kano's face. Kano managed to jerk away in time, but his momentum carried him too far backward and he sprawled out onto the pavement. Damn! The suspect was already making a run for it. Suddenly, a large car— oh, it's a fucking Blazer. My dad had one of these cars. Suddenly, a large car, a forward make skidded to a halt, blocking off the man's escape route. A tall Caucasian man jumped out. He wore sunglasses and a crisp suit. Now cornered, the fleeing suspect brandished his knife. Be careful! But Kano didn't even have time to finish shouting his warning. There was a metallic whing, and the knife went flying through the air. The man in his sunglasses had snapped his right foot up, sending the weapon flying. As the attacker's jaw dropped in astonishment, the newcomer proceeded to elbow him in the face. The blow connected and the suspect went down hard. The fallen man turned his head to look up at Kano. Excuse me. His mouth moved as if he were attempting to say something. He never got it out. The man in the sunglasses kicked him in the face. With a groan, the perp slumped down unconscious. Hey, Kano snapped. What the hell are you doing? He stormed over to the man with the sunglasses. The man nonchalantly dusted off his suit. You were ordered to watch and see where these guys were going, all right? That's correct, Hiyori. He spoke in fluent Japanese. What happened to that Japanese sense of honor I've heard so much about? Who are you? I'm from the U.S. Embassy of Regional Security. I'm from the U.S. Embassy's Regional Security Office, the man replied. He presented Kano with his ID. Jack Stanley, otherwise known as Hugh Laurie. His title was listed as Security Assistance Officer. Kano glanced at the card he'd shown up in. The license plate was blue with white lettering. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs? But wouldn't the ministry just send some— the ministry wouldn't just send some diplomat to intervene with a police investigation. Kano pulled out his phone out of his pocket. Sasayama's name was displayed across the LCD screen. How are things at your end, Kano? I have the suspect in custody. How about you? Sasayama hesitated. He got away from me. What about the attaché case? Sorry, but he still gotta be around here somewhere. I'm gonna look around some more. Sasayama hung up. What's your name, detective? Jack Stanley asked as Kano was processing this new information. Kano from the Shibuya precinct. Alright, Kano, I'm gonna need you to follow my instructions for the next while. Why's that? Instead of answering, Stanley took out his cell phone and made a quick call. After a few moments, he held the phone up for Kano. Here, permission from your boss, he said. What? Kano squawked. He took the phone gingerly, bracing himself. Kano speaking. You imbecile! What the hell are you thinking? It was Kuze, and he was furious. Understandably so, really. Kano had disobeyed a direct order, and for what? All he'd accomplished was losing track of the attaché case. I'm sorry, sir. Really think sorry is gonna cut it? You're off the force, Kano. Kano slumped defeated. He had no reply. He knew he deserved whatever punishment he got. Still, orders from up top didn't trump the hostage's safety. If he could have gone back and done it all again, he's sure he would have made the same call. Maybe that meant he wasn't a detective material, but so be it. That's what I want to tell you, Kuze continued, but for now, I need you to follow the instructions of the guy there, Stanley. Do whatever he tells you. Sir? Kano hadn't seen that one coming. He disobeyed orders. That was undeniable. And yes, he knew he deserved a reprimand, but being ordered to tag along with some stranger who just turned up out of the blue. What the heck? May I ask why the US Embassy is involved with this? No more questions, Kano. Step in line. Please, just hold on. Sir, I have no idea what's going on here. Kuze let out an exasperated sigh. That makes two of us, kid. And with that, the director hung up. It sounded like even Kuze didn't have the whole story here, which meant that orders were coming from someplace higher. A foreign syndicate moving the ransom around the US Embassy. Whatever was going on, it was more than just a local kidnapping case, and Kano was deep in the middle of it. He handed the phone back to Stanley. A few moments later, two detectives from the MPD arrived at the scene. Stanley handed over the fallen criminal to them. You're chasing a bum lead, you know, Stanley said as he watched them carry the man away. What do you mean? Kano asked. I mean, this kidnapping isn't about the money. My priority is the girl's safety. Right now, your priority is doing what I tell you to do. Kano gave him a scowl, but Stanley ignored it. The guy we just arrested, he asked. He tell you anything? No, nothing, Kano said. Really now? All trace of emotion drained from Stanley's eyes. His gaze pierced Kano like icy daggers. It held a glimmer of something dangerous, something Kano had seen plenty of times since he joined the force. He wasn't looking into the eyes of some diplomatic liaison. No, this is a man who knew how to kill, who killed people before. With some effort, Kano managed to regather his sense of professionalism. He didn't tell me anything, he repeated. I just know that he's a member of some foreign crime syndicate that works out of Shibuya. I probably know some of their hangouts. Show me, Stanley said, cool as an automaton. We'll take my car. Kano wiped away some of the sweat that had beaded on his brow as they headed for the vehicle. He was just sliding into the passenger seat when Kuze radioed over the wireless. Okie dokie, folks, listen up. The childish tone was back in his voice full force. Kano stiffened on reflex. He knew what that meant. So, Hitomi Osawa has, gone missing. What? Kano couldn't believe his ears. Wasn't Tatsuno supposed to be protecting her right now? Also, Detective Tatsuno hasn't radioed in. And, we can't reach him from our end either. No way, Kano blurted out. It can't be. Oh yeah, Kuze continued. He might have gotten caught up in this incident too. He wasn't like a detective of Tatsuno's stature to go incommunicado during an investigation. It can only mean that something happened to him, something major. There we go. (12 to 1). Or sorry, 1 to 2. All right. We'll be doing the next chapter next time. Let's see here. We're going to go ahead and raid into Ariel Arashi because she's playing Needy Streamer Overload, and I played the game a long time ago when it came out. Alright guys, I will see you guys tomorrow for what is technically going to be Anime Club, assuming that me and Logan are still doing our thing Sunday. But yeah, I'll see you guys later. Take care.